Chapter 343. In the Battle of Half Moon City, all the witnesses were stopped in the city and their communication talismans were confiscated. The Guangzong told the public that this was a feud between the Guangzong and the hidden aristocratic families. Regardless of life and death, it had nothing to do with other forces. All the ancient killing gods were gathered in 5 places: Emperor Abyss City, Eastern City, Eternal Fate City, Northern Liang Mountain, and Central City. Although it looked strange, no one knew their true intentions. Although the deaths of a large number of experts from the hidden sects had alerted the hidden sects, they didn't realize that this was a secret battle to destroy the hidden sections. Numerous elites and super first-rate experts were heading towards the central area of the Imperial region to provide assistance, and the encirclement and annihilation that targeted them was being carried out silently. Wuxia's death had enraged the evil Yin Valley. Even the sect of Desire and other sects had sent out their god martial arts masters to besiege the insane sect. Along the way, at least 8 forces began to attack the insane sect. They secretly communicated with each other. Each force sent out 10 early-stage divine martial artists, 5 mid-stage divine martial artists, 3 peak-stage divine martial artists, and 1 perfected divine martial artist. There were several immortal sects, and the evil Shadow Valley even sent out a fake emperor for the sake of the Dao Realm Holy Land. 8 forces. That's more than 100 god martial artists. That's a huge fighting force. All of this had long been reported to Xiaqiyue in the central city by spies. This time we've finally attracted a powerful force. Inform the northern commander of the Misty Cloud sect to kill the fake emperor in advance. Ask all the elders of the Crazy sect to come back and assist the Jade Lady Sword sect. Ask Ziluo and Fairy Chinxue to come back as well. Ask all the gods of massacre of the ancient martial realm to disguise themselves as rogue cultivators and patrol Half Moon City. Once we make a move, kill them all. Swish, swish, swish. The center of the imperial region that seemed to be calm and tranquil was actually surging with undercurrents that shook one to the core. At this moment, Xiaqiyue was not happy at all. There were not many people who could support the situation after getting rid of the Crazy Sex people. Once one side suffered a blow, the Crazy Sex people would return to help. There would not be enough people in other places. Brother Qingjun, I'll have to trouble you to ask Monkey King Qitian, Long Qiong, Yang Zhan and Yetian to pass these jade strips to them. You must personally hand them over to them. I won't be at ease if someone else does it. Xiaqiyue handed the 4 jade strips to Xikong Qingjun and said in a low voice. Xikong Qingjun frowned. Right now he was the only superclass expert left in the army. The war was about to begin. Once the enemy knew that the command center was here, they would kill Xiaqiyue first. Once he left, the ancient killing god would not be able to block the attacks of 3 to 5 superclass experts. Don't worry, I have the means to protect myself, Xiaqiyue said confidently. No one knew where his confidence came from. In terms of combat strength, Xiaqiyue could be considered to be at the top of the first class. But in the face of a superclass, she would quickly fall. The jade slips are very important. If the 4 of them are willing to help, our human race will be like a tiger that has grown wings. Xiaqiyue continued to persuade. Xikong Qingjun had no choice but to take the jade slip to Nietian and the others. In the southeast, Jian Qinxue and Xia Ziluo joined forces and successfully eliminated 2 superclass experts from the reclusive immortal sects. This caused a sensation and angered the giant god sect and the Tai family. The human race was facing enemies from both sides. The situation was getting more and more urgent. On this day, the heavenly palace god found Yi Mingxi. Miss Mingxi, do you have a way to contact your brother? The heavenly palace god asked in a low voice. Yes, but my brother said that it can only be used in an extremely urgent situation because it can only be used once. Once it's used up, it will be gone. Yi Mingxi said in a muffled voice. Quick, contact him. No matter how troublesome the matter is, tell him to immediately put it down and rush back to the imperial domain. The heavenly palace god said in a hurry. At this moment, Yi Qinghan was taking Zifei, and a group of people to the Iron Tiger tribe to participate in the competition. In 3 days, Yi Qinghan had ravaged Zifei, from the 2nd level of the Fate Palace realm to the middle level of the Dao Master realm. Her close combat ability shocked Yi Qinghan. Her dagger carried a large amount of dark elements that could destroy the life of an expert. The most important thing was the multicolored snake's venom. Once it touched blood, it would kill the throat. Even a god martial arts expert could not escape from it. In these 3 days, the purple iron wolf was half dead. If it had not been rescued in time, this little life would have been completely destroyed by the parrot. However, his realm improved even faster. He directly rushed to the 4th step of the Fate Palace realm, and was only half a step away from the Tao Master realm. Don't use a poison dagger. Use an ordinary dagger to kill. From today onwards, if you encounter someone of a similar realm, beat them down. If you encounter someone of a higher realm, and you are not confident, kill them. Yi Qinghan reminded them faintly. The siblings were very excited. They were looking forward to the real battle. The first battle, Wu Yunzhong of the Golden Crow Upper Clan versus Zifei, of the Iron Wolf tribe, a referee announced. What? This? Who was the one who came up with this battle list? It's not fair to let a 16-year-old child of our tribe fight Wu Yunzhong, who was the strongest of the younger generation of the 4 tribes 3 years ago. Clan elder asked angrily with a red face. This is a random draw. Are you questioning the fairness of the Iron Tiger tribe and the Golden Crow Upper Clan? If the Iron Wolf tribe does not want to participate, you can withdraw from the competition and not participate in the future, Hu Kuan said coldly. That's right. This is a random draw. Luck is also a part of strength. If he encounters Wu Yunzhong, he can only blame himself for his bad luck. The Golden Crow Centipede scolded coldly. Clan elder of the Iron Wolf tribe sat down dispiritedly. This year he could only count on Zifei. If he was kicked out in the first round, he would have to give away the 6th grade spiritual medicine. Yi Qinghan smiled slightly, and did not say anything. He just looked at the arena quietly, waiting for Wu Yunzhong to be kicked out. Buzz, Yi Qinghan's body suddenly trembled. A few words appeared in his mind. Guangzhong is in danger. Return quickly. There were only these few words without any explanation. Yi Qinghan clenched his fist and stood up. He shook his head at Zifei, indicating to her not to kill Wu Yunzhong. Then he walked towards the Golden Crow Centipede. The Golden Crow Centipede squinted his eyes at Yi Qinghan. He discovered something special about him. Although he was only at the 5th layer of the immortal realm, his true strength was definitely not inferior to the divine martial realm. He could even kill a divine martial realm expert. That sense of danger was growing stronger. Dao friend, can we talk alone? Yi Qinghan said coldly. The Golden Crow Centipede was stunned. If other immortal realm experts dared to talk to him like this, he would have already suppressed them with a palm. However, facing Yi Qinghan, he told himself with certainty that he was not his opponent. Dao friend, please follow me. The Golden Crow Centipede stood up and walked out of the Iron Tiger tribe. He turned around and looked at Yi Qinghan. Dao friend Golden Crow Centipede, I am the one who spied on you 3 days ago. Let's be frank. I don't have time to talk nonsense with you. I will tell you a few things and I hope you will do them. Yi Qinghan was incomparably domineering. The Fire Crow, the Rainbow Snake, and the God-slaying Eagle all flew out at the same time, suppressing the heavens. The Golden Crow Centipede sucked in a breath of cold air. He was intimidated by the aura of the God-slaying Eagle and the Rainbow Snake. He felt as if he was being stared at by a divine martial realm expert. First, I know the Golden Crow. The real Golden Crow, the Golden Crow of Flame Mountain. This is the 8th grade flame essence it gave me. Yi Qinghan casually took out a jade bottle. The 8th grade flame essence could steal one's soul. Once it leaked out, it would definitely burn the heavens. The Golden Crow Centipede trembled. He knew that this was the 8th grade flame essence of Flame Mountain. This was because every 300 years, the Golden Crow tribe would go to Flame Mountain to worship the Golden Crow. The Golden Crow would also give them some flame essence. It was exactly the same as this one. The flame essences in other places were not as pure. Greetings, High God. The Golden Crow Centipede knelt down. Their faith in the Golden Crow was absolutely devout. Rise. I have a task for you. I don't care what method you use, you must accomplish it. Yi Qinghan's aura sank. He immediately said, protect the people of the Iron Wolf tribe. It would be best if you could ask the powerhouses of your higher race headquarters to bring them back to the Heavenly Wolf tribe. Moreover, they must receive the best treatment. If you can do this, then when I return, I will have the golden crow appear in your tribe and bestow upon you a miracle. If you cannot do this, then you will be destroyed, including your higher race headquarters. I can absolutely do it. Don't worry, High God. As long as you can bring the golden crow god back to the tribe, I will die immediately. The golden crow centipede was extremely respectful. He was so excited that his body trembled slightly. The great emperor of the higher race headquarters could only see the golden crow god once in their lifetime. If he could see it again, then the reward would be enough for their branch to enjoy for 1,000 years. I wonder when High God will return? The golden crow centipede asked expectantly. At the latest, 100 years. At the earliest, 3 to 5 months. I can't guarantee anything, but I will leave a disciple in the Iron Wolf tribe. He is Zifeir's brother. Purple Iron Wolf, you must take good care of him. I will come to pick him up sooner or later. Do you understand? Yi Qinghan said in a deep voice. It would be very dangerous to go back this time. The Purple Iron Wolf's realm was too low. Going back would be suicide, so there was no way he would bring him back. Zifeir could be brought back to train a few more times. At most, she would be able to become a real fighting force in half a year, and become the sword of the insane sect. Good. No problem. I will immediately inform the great emperor of the higher race headquarters to come and pick up the Iron Wolf tribe's people. If the Iron Wolf tribe does not accept them, the Golden Crow tribe will definitely treat them as guests. The Golden Crow centipede promised. Yi Qinghan nodded. The Golden Crow tribe's faith in the Golden Crow was guaranteed, so they were not worried about the Iron Wolf tribe's people. The two returned to the martial arts arena. The Golden Crow centipede was stunned. The strongest of the younger generation, Wu Yunzhong, had been defeated. In just a few words, he had been defeated by a little girl. It was unbelievable. He was even more shocked by Yi Qinghan's methods. This is a true high god. In just a few days, he could train a little girl to be so powerful. If the high god of the Golden Crow comes to my tribe, we will definitely unify the eastern wasteland. The Golden Crow centipede trembled with excitement. He immediately took out a communication talisman and directly contacted the higher race headquarters. When the Golden Crow tribe's headquarters found out that someone knew the true god of the Golden Crow and had the rank 8 flame essence from the Mountain of Flames, they were immediately shocked. They agreed to everything Yi Qinghan said. Yi Qinghan did not want to waste any more time. He directly took Zifei away and left the rest to the Golden Crow centipede. Senior, where are we going? In the sky, Zifei asked in surprise on the back of the god-slaying eagle. To the Imperial region to kill people. Yi Qinghan replied indifferently. Chapter 344. Half Moon City was originally a small and inconspicuous place. Very few people had ever paid attention to it. Today was destined to be an extraordinary day. The strong cultivators of the divine martial realm had traversed half of the Imperial region and arrived from the void. Half Moon City was dead silent. Only 1 or 2 ancient killing gods would pass by occasionally to maintain order. The Jade Lady Sword Sect's protective formation was tightly shut, and no one came out to investigate. Nothing seemed to have happened outside. In fact, the elders of the crazy sect had already set up several formations. Even Yi Lingyu and Yi Jianma were here, afraid that the formations would be broken and innocent people would be implicated. This time, there were more than 100 warriors of the god martial realm. They were here to deal with the insane sect, which had no god martial realm warriors. It had to be said that these hidden forces thought too highly of the insane sect. They were all disguised. Some wore cloaks and some were dressed like ordinary people. They were divided into dozens of groups and gathered in a mountain outside Half Moon City. If the Dao Realm Sacred Grounds could not detect the gathering of so many divine martial artists, they would not be called Dao Realm Sacred Grounds. Their every move was under the surveillance of the ancient killing gods. The great elder of the evil Shadow Valley personally led the group, and left the immortal sect disciples around Half Moon City to defend. Once the ancient killing gods approached, they would be notified immediately. The crazy sect is too arrogant. If we don't destroy them this time, if they have someone to prove their Dao in the future, how can we, the hidden clans survive. Lung Kongcho looked at the divine martial artists of the other clans and said angrily, "Brother Lung, do we need to discuss how to deal with a bunch of immature brats? Let's just kill our way over, destroy the formation, and suppress them all." A deacon of the Desire sect, called Wang Luo, said disdainfully, "Brother Wang, don't you think this is strange? The ancient killing gods moved without warning. Now that we have 5 cities, we can both attack and defend. But the crazy sect is provoking us at this time. I don't think it's that simple. Although the crazy sect doesn't have a quasi-emperor or a divine martial artist, they have many imperial weapons," Lung Kongcho said cautiously. "Elder Lung, are you confused? Yi Qinghan has already entered the Eastern Barren territory. He will die there. How can the crazy sect have any imperial weapons? In my opinion, at this time, we should directly wipe out the Kuang sect with lightning speed, and then quietly leave without anyone knowing," Tai Kong, the elder of the Tai family, said coldly. "It's best to act at night. It won't do us any good if we draw out the experts of the Dao realm Holy Lands." Lung Kongcho was still unwilling to act during the day and insisted. Everyone was helpless and could only wait. Yi Linchen's clothes fluttered in the wind, and the stars rotated. He didn't seem to be moving, but in fact he had long since left, heading toward the Diwu clan in the 5th planetary system. He had already set off when the ancient killing god made his move. He seemed to have sensed the ancient killing god's goal. On this day, Yi Linchen came to the gate of the Diwu clan. No one knew him. The guards of the Diwu clan scolded him, and did not allow him to enter. Whoosh! Yi Linchen disappeared inexplicably, and appeared directly in the hall of the Diwu clan. At this moment, Diwu Quangshan was reprimanding some of his clansmen. When he saw Yi Linchen come in, he quickly got up and said, "Big brother Yi, why are you here?" The people of the Diwu clan were shocked. Since Diwu Quangshan called him Big Brother, they could imagine the background of the other party. "Why don't you greet Senior? Do you know that he is my big brother's close friend Yi Linchen?" Diwu Quangshan reprimanded the group of quasi-emperors. The quasi-emperors didn't dare to speak, as if they were being reprimanded by their father. "Greetings, Senior." The Diwu clan had at least 4 quasi-emperors, and more than 10 pseudo-emperors. This was the foundation of a reclusive clan. Yi Linchen nodded slightly and said lightly, "You all can leave first. I have a few words with Quangshan." The patriarch of the Diwu clan didn't dare to refute, and left with everyone. "Big brother Yi, why did you come here personally?" Diwu Quangshan frowned and asked. "It's about the matter between the Dao realm Holy Land and the reclusive clan. If they start a war, you'd better not stand on the side of the reclusive clan. If you don't want to help the Dao realm Holy Land, you have to remain neutral. This is my only advice to you. Otherwise, you will destroy your big brother's life's work." Yi Linchen looked directly at Diwu Quangshan, and said in a deep voice, "What? Is the Dao realm Holy Land crazy? With their current foundation, they don't even have a quasi-emperor. How can they fight against the reclusive clan?" Diwu Quangshan said disdainfully. He felt that the Dao realm Holy Land was courting death. "I knew you were still like this. Arrogant and unruly, you don't use your brain. If the Dao realm Holy Land could rely on a few quasi-emperors to pass down several great eras, how can it be called a Dao realm Holy Land?" Yi Linchen scolded softly. "Big brother Yi, I'm not a child anymore." Diwu Quangshan was a little angry and dissatisfied with Yi Linchen's tone. "Humph, you know very well whether you are a child or not. If your big brother didn't ask me, I wouldn't care about your attitude at all. The people from back then are gone and things have changed. You are the only person I know, and I don't want anything to happen to you. I hope you know what to do." Yi Linchen turned and was about to leave. "Big brother Yi." Diwu Quangshan was shocked and hurriedly said, "Big brother Yi, you know my temper. Please don't argue with me. What did you just say? My big brother asked you to do this? I want to know what happened back then." Yi Linchen sighed and said sadly, "In fact, back then, your big brother had already calculated that the endless universe would have such a day. He also knew that the Diwu family would have such a day. He didn't want the family to be destroyed. He knew that you were too arrogant, and would add fuel to the fire of the Diwu family's destruction. Therefore in the battle back then he kept me alive, sealed me, and sent me to the Wanguyan Tian. He left a letter beside me. Take a look. Yi Linchen waved his hand and shot out a very special piece of paper. It would not be destroyed even after tens of thousands of years. When you return, the endless universe will shake. The Diwu family is in danger. Please help. Diwu thanks you. When Diwu Quangshan saw the handwriting, he knew that it was true. His expression was a little ugly. The dignified Diwu family had 4 quasi-emperors, and one of them was a consummate quasi-emperor. Without a great emperor, how could the Diwu family be in danger? But even if she didn't trust anyone, how could she not trust her own brother? Brother Yi, I'm sorry. I was too impulsive just now. Diwu Quangshan bowed and said. In this life, perhaps only his big brother, the Diwu Great Emperor, and Yi Linchen could make him bow down. No need to apologize to me and no need to thank me. I just did what I had to do. As for whether you listen to me or not, it's up to you. Yi Linchen sighed. Looking at the vast mysteries of heaven, he did not know where his path was. Brother Yi, what do you think I should do? Since my big brother asked you to do this, I will also believe you. Diwu Quangshan said in a deep voice. I think the Dao Realm Holy Land and the Quangzong will win. I personally suggest that you express your goodwill in advance and send quasi-emperors to support them. You also secretly help the Quangzong and resolve the grudge between you and the Quangzong. Yi Qinghan is not the kind of person who bites the hand that feeds him. As long as you help him once, he will not hold a grudge against Diwu Tianhe for destroying the golden bloodline. After all, Diwu Tianhe is dead. Diwu Quangshan's mouth twitched. Asking him to help Yi Qinghan? Wasn't this a slap to his face? Time waits for no one. Everything is unpredictable. You decide for yourself. It's up to you whether you listen or not. Yi Linchen left directly, not giving Diwu Quangshan a chance to speak. Diwu Quangshan clenched his fists and then loosened them. His fingertips trembled slightly as he looked up at the patriarch of the Diwu clan, Diwu Shenfeng, and shouted, Shenfeng, order all the disciples of the Diwu clan outside to return. Without my order, no one is allowed to leave the Diwu clan. Take all the quasi-emperors of the clan, and follow me to the imperial domain. Xia Qiyue and Gu Qingyu did not know that Diwu Quangshan had moved. Night was falling, and the moon shone over the mountains and rivers. Gu Qingyu, Xia Ziluo, Jian Qinxue, Muyu Tianchen, and all the other elders and protectors of the Quangzong quietly rushed to the valley where Lung Kongqiu was. Hundreds of 6-star killing gods came from all directions, and they were all in the divine martial realm. The ancient killing god was very weak now. Even after gathering all the experts, they could only gather a few hundred divine martial realm experts. One had to say that it was the ancient killing god's tragedy. Prepare to attack. Lung Kongqiu stood up. More than 100 divine martial realm experts woke up from their meditation and stood up as well. This time, let's end this quickly. Don't alert the ancient killing god and the other Dao realm sacred grounds. Let's go. We were too cautious this time. The various secluded sects looked down on the Quangzong. They felt that this was a waste of time. Swish, swish, swish. Hundreds of figures streaked across the moonlight and surrounded the valley. Who is it? Lung Kongqiu was shocked. So many people were approaching, but he did not notice. Gu Qingyu held the heavenly martial sword and looked down at the 100 experts in the valley. He said coldly, kill them. Leave no one alive. Swish, 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 boom, boom, boom. Hundreds of experts exploded together, directly illuminating the clouds. The valley was razed to the ground. Hum. A soaring sword chi broke through the shackles and rushed into the clouds. The emperor's might was vast and mighty, sweeping up the heavenly might. The emperor's weapon had awakened. Gu Qingyu could actually use the heavenly martial sword. His sword Dao was unparalleled, instantly crushing the Dao hearts of some divine martial realm experts. At the same time, a large number of ancient killing gods surrounded Half Moon City and directly killed some immortal martial realm experts who were roaming outside. They were all experts from the secluded sections. Puchi swish swish, the ancient killing god did not speak at all. He only cared about killing. What are you doing? You are all seeking death. We are. Boom. The ancient killing god only cared about killing. He did not care about who they were. Instantly, blood flowed like a river. Hundreds of immortal martial realm experts from various sects were wiped out in just half an hour. Because of the ancient killing god and the hunters, there were more than 30,000 people. After killing, they quickly gathered and left as if they had never appeared. The people of the Jade Lady Sword sect quickly appeared. Their combat strength might not be that great, but they could still clean up the battlefield. They directly moved the corpses away and washed the blood away. It did not look like a battle had happened outside Half Moon City. Chapter 345. 10,000 miles away. The fake emperor frowned as he looked in the direction of Half Moon City. That sword Dao was terrifying, and the emperor aura was powerful enough to kill any expert below the fake emperor level. Whoosh! Fake emperor Lung Chen broke through the void and tried to kill his way to Half Moon City. Boom! A sword suddenly came from the void, piercing through time and space, tearing apart the shackles, and smashing Lung Chen out of the alternate space. Umph! Lung Chen grunted as his extreme grade battle armor shattered. He fell back and stared at the figure with a pale face. It was very unfamiliar, so unfamiliar that he had never seen it before. Although he couldn't tell if the other party was in the middle or early stage of the god martial realm, he was definitely not at the peak, and definitely not at the peak. He couldn't help but be shocked. A god martial realm expert suddenly appeared beside him. And as a fake emperor, he didn't even notice it. Even when the other party attacked, he didn't feel any energy ripple. He had never seen such a powerful person in his life. Yan Yunbei held the golden dagger in his hand. His eyes were like stars, and his long hair and clothes fluttered in the wind. He was extremely calm. "Who are you?" Lung Chen asked cautiously. "Ancient massacre god Yan Yunbei," Yan Yunbei said lightly. Lung Chen frowned and scolded in a low voice. "I am the elder of the Evil Valley. As the ancient massacre god, you stopped me for no reason. Are you representing the ancient massacre god to start a war with the Evil Valley?" The void surged, and killing intent shot out. The stars dimmed as if they were about to disappear. Yan Yunbei tapped the dagger with his finger and said indifferently, "I am the ancient massacre god. Of course, I have to maintain the order of the monarch region. If you want to leave, then fine. If you insist on passing by, then I will have to kill you." Hummed the dagger hummed and killing intent shot out. Ridiculous. A puny god martial realm dares to talk to me like this. Lung Chen was furious as if he was humiliated. "Killing you is easy." Whoosh! Yan Yunbei attacked. The dagger didn't have any light, and it went straight for Lung Chen's neck. "You're courting death." Lung Chen rushed forward angrily, and a strand of emperor aura shot out in all directions. However, Yan Yunbei's speed shocked him. In an instant, he was in front of Lung Chen. In close combat, Lung Chen's powerful vital essence couldn't even use 30% of his strength. Whoosh! 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 The dagger was sharp, and it tore through Lung Chen's armor. In an instant, Lung Chen executed more than 10 moves, and the ground was filled with afterimages. "Die!" Lung Chen waved his big hand, wanting to crush Yan Yunbei. However, as soon as he waved his big hand, he was left wide open. Whoosh! The dagger pierced Lung Chen's palm from top to bottom. With a fierce pull, Lung Chen fell towards Yan Yunbei. His whole body was left defenseless. Yan Yunbei's eyes flashed, and a sword light flashed from his left sleeve. It pierced into Lung Chen's heart. The sword edge and power penetrated Lung Chen's body. Puff! Ah! Lung Chen screamed. He did not expect Yan Yunbei to be so powerful in close combat. After being hit twice in a row, Lung Chen was furious. He waved his left hand, wanting to grab Yan Yunbei. Misty Cloud's body dodged Lung Chen's spurting blood. She closed in on Lung Chen's left shoulder and pulled out her dagger. She swept the dagger horizontally and directly pierced into Lung Chen's neck. Lung Chen's pupils shrank as he felt his life force dissipate by more than half. There was something wrong with Yan Yunbei's dagger. It contained the destruction Dao, and it was very dense. "I said it would be easy to kill you. I gave you a chance, but you didn't want it. Don't blame me." Yan Yunbei snorted coldly. His left hand moved, and the sword in his left hand disappeared. His palm landed on Lung Chen's forehead. The destruction Dao destroyed all of Lung Chen's life force in an instant. Lung Chen let out a muffled groan and died without a sound. He didn't even have the time to explode before he went limp, and his eyes were filled with shock. No one knew that such a powerful battle had happened in the wilderness. A fake emperor had died just like that. Once Lung Chen died, the life plate in the evil Yin Valley immediately shattered. At the same time, all the divine martial realm experts they sent died in an instant. The evil Yin Valley was furious, and the boundary emperor roared. Yen Yunbei shattered Lung Chen's body with a palm strike and burned the evidence. He then disappeared without a trace. Fortunately, Yi Qinghan was not here. Otherwise, he would have realized that he was not the one who wanted to prove his Dao through close combat. Yen Yunbei was the founder, and his battle strength had reached the small success realm. Killing a fake emperor in the divine martial realm would definitely shock many people. In the Battle of Half Moon City, the battle between Yen Yunbei and the fake emperor, and Jian Chenxue and Xia Ziluo killing two superclass experts had completely angered the hidden wealthy families. They joined forces with dozens of hidden wealthy families, and sent an army to the center of the sovereign region. They wanted to completely destroy the crazy sect. Have they gathered together? Xia Qiyue frowned. If they had gathered together, the ancient massacre god alone would not be able to resist. After all, there were no boundary emperors or fake emperors. How could they be compared with so many hidden wealthy families? But this is also good. First, gather all the ancient massacre god and hunters, and stop them outside the ancestral land. I don't believe that they would dare to openly fight with the ancient massacre god. With a command, the army moved out. All the ancient massacre god rushed to the ancestral land of the human race. Only here could they intimidate the hidden wealthy families. If they dared to make a move in front of the ancestral land, they would have to think twice. Moreover, the ancient massacre god was an organization created to protect the human race since ancient times. Would the hidden wealthy families dare to destroy it? This was a huge gamble. If they lost, the ancient massacre god who survived the battle of the dead spirits would all be killed by the hidden wealthy families. If they won, they could slowly erode the power of the hidden wealthy families. One day later, Yen Yunbei personally led the army and stood in front of the ancestral land of the human race. The ancient massacre god's robe fluttered, and the star patterns shone. The sovereign princes of the human race, Monkey King Qitian, and Long Qiong of the Wan tribe had all arrived. Although there were no boundary emperors, their auras were terrifying. The evil Yin Valley Master, Lung Yin Saint, and the God of Desire Sect Master, Yin Chao, led 7 boundary emperors, dozens of fake emperors, and countless disciples of the divine martial realm. Get lost. Today, this is a grudge between the hidden wealthy families and the crazy sect. If the ancient massacre god dares to interfere, don't blame me for being ruthless. Lung Yin Saint scolded angrily. Ancient massacre god, I admire you very much. You have protected the human race for hundreds of thousands of years. I beg you not to interfere. Yin Chao said coldly. Yen Yunbei's golden robe fluttered. He was neither servile nor overbearing. He looked at the heroes in front of him and said in a low voice, I am Yen Yunbei. I am under the order of the massacre god to stop you from entering the ancestral land. If we start a war today, I, the ancient massacre god, will not regret it even if I die. Not even if I die. 30,000 ancient massacre gods and more than 200,000 hunters did not budge an inch. Their auras were monstrous. Yen Yunbei. Lung Yin Saint frowned. She seemed to have heard this name before. There were too many self-proclaimed experts. No one knew when a super-existence who was strong enough to prove his Dao would pop out from a small sect. It was not surprising for such an expert to appear in the ancient massacre god. The ancient massacre god is not only protecting the human race, but also maintaining the order of the sovereign domain. You have brought so many experts. Are you planning to rebel against the human race or start a war with the sovereign domain? Yen Yunbei scolded coldly. Yen Yunbei, the insane sect has murdered dozens of experts from my sect. May I ask if I should investigate this matter? Lung Yin Saint stepped forward aggressively. Murder? What a serious crime. If it was really murder, I, the ancient massacre god, should be the one to investigate. After the investigation, if it was a fair battle, you can at most send people below the pseudo-emperor level to challenge me. If it was murder, I, the ancient massacre god, will punish them. Why do you have to bring so many people here? Yan Yunbei replied indifferently. Hundreds of disciples and elders of the divine martial realm were all murdered by the insane sect. This matter is set in stone. There is no need to investigate. The grudges of our secluded sects will be settled by ourselves. There is no need for you to interfere. Get out of the way. Yin Chao walked out and said coldly. Many experts of the Yin Yang sect have also been murdered by the insane sect. Are you so confident that you even want to interfere with the matters of the Yin Yang sect? An elder of the Yin Yang sect walked out and said coldly. Swish, swish, swish. At this time, at least 20 sects and families came forward to pressure the ancient massacre god. Yan Yunbei smirked, fiddling with the golden dagger and dagger. He then looked at a majestic graveyard on his right. Divine light shone around it. God knew how many emperor formations were protecting it. Even if a great emperor were to attack it personally, it would take him a lifetime to do so. He then replied, I am the ancient killing god. I only recognize the killing god token. If you believe in the ancient killing god, I can send people to investigate. If it is a murder, I will capture the people of the insane sect and hand them over to you. If it is a legitimate defense or a fair fight, I hope you will not make things difficult for me. The faces of the people from the hidden aristocratic families changed slightly as they looked at the human race's ancestral land. This was a true forbidden land that might not be any worse than a forbidden land. Other than the dead great emperors, human sovereigns, and quasi-emperors who had made great contributions to the human race, no one could be buried here, and no one could enter without permission. The ancestral lands represented the hope of the human race. The hidden noble clans were also part of the human race. If they disrespected their ancestors, they would not dare to bear the consequences of the wrath of the entire human race. Kacha, Saint Lung Ying clenched her iron fists as she looked at Yan Yunbei's devilishly calm expression. It was as if he did not care about the quasi-emperors at all. She thought to herself, something's strange. This guy doesn't seem to be afraid of us forcing our way in. With the killing god order, could it be that the ancient killing god still has experts alive? Alright, I'll give you 1 day. If you can't find anything, don't blame me for forcing my way in. Saint Lung Yin's eyes flashed fiercely as she roared in a low voice. 1 day is enough. Yan Yunbei's lips curled up. His hair draped over his shoulders as he played with his fingernails with a short blade. He looked unrestrained as he said to the Heavenly Palace deity, Heavenly Palace deity, make a trip to Half Moon City and find out what happened the day before yesterday. Yes. The Heavenly Palace deity smiled as he accepted the order and left. This matter had already been arranged long ago. It was just a matter of the journey. As expected, after the Heavenly Palace deity arrived at Half Moon City, the crazy sect had already handed over the engraved image stone to him. What was engraved in the image stone were the scenes of the evil Shadow Valley attacking the crazy sect's branch. Afterwards, the crazy sect's people had only ambushed a group of people of unknown origins. These people were also targeting the crazy sect. The Heavenly Palace deity also used a cloud-piercing ship to take away some of the people of Half Moon City as witnesses. Now that the witnesses and evidence were present, even if the hidden noble clans wanted to go all out, they had no reason to kill the crazy sect. It only took half a day for the cloud-piercing ship to arrive at the ancestral lands. The Heavenly Palace deity handed over the image stone with both hands. With a wave of his hand, Yan Yunbei pulled out all the images and played them in front of everyone. Chapter 346. Is this the murder that Valley Master Lung mentioned? Why did I see your disciples attacking the crazy sect first? And they were all killed by a kid. Is this murder? Yan Yunbei looked at the image and sneered. Saint Lung Yin and Yin Chao were furious. They felt that things were not as simple as they seemed. Then why did all the divine martial artists of my sect die when they passed by Half Moon City? More than 10 divine martial artists of the Tai family also passed by, and they all died mysteriously. More than 10 grand families stood out and shouted angrily. Don't worry. Isn't there another image stone? Yan Yunbei said calmly and took out another image stone. The image of the battle last night appeared in the sky. Yan Yunbei asked coldly. Are these the divine martial artists of your family? They disguised themselves as ordinary people and approached the center of the imperial domain. They gathered in a valley, obviously to discuss something important. Half Moon City is the closest to the ancient massacre god. No other forces are worthy enough to mobilize hundreds of divine martial artists. Are they going to attack the ancient massacre god? If it's really someone from your family, I'd like to ask you something. Do you really want to attack my ancient god of massacre with so many experts gathered here? The experts of the grand families were stunned. No one dared to take the blame for attacking the ancient massacre god. Although the ancient massacre god no longer had a boundary emperor, it represented the glory and protection of the human race. Yin Saint Lung Yin was furious, but she was speechless after being questioned. Yes, these people are on our side. But they were only attacking the crazy sect. In the image, it seems that the crazy sect was not the only one who attacked. How did the crazy sect kill more than 100 divine martial artists and a boundary emperor? If they did not plan this beforehand, how could they kill so many experts in an instant? This is solid evidence. Yin Chao said sternly as he caught the crazy sect's weakness. Yan Yunbei sneered and waved his hand. Call the crazy sect's great elder Gu Qingyu. Gu Qingyu had been hiding in the ancient massacre god since the beginning. He stepped out arrogantly with the Tianwu combat sword in his hand. The sword was not out of its scabbard, so no one knew that it was an emperor weapon. Gu Qingyu, someone said that your sect killed more than 100 divine martial realm cultivators and a fake emperor. Is that true? Yin Yunbei asked calmly. It's true that we killed more than 100 god-level cultivators. That's nothing to the insane school. However, there were no fake emperors involved the day before yesterday, so we didn't kill them. Gu Qingyu said in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. That's right. Yin Yunbei stared coldly at them and said in a low voice, there is a fake emperor among your group of more than 100 god-level experts. There is no fake emperor among the god-level experts killed by the insane sect. This means that the people in the valley are not from your hidden sect. Am I right? What a joke. Let's not talk about whether or not those people are from the hidden grand families. Let's talk about the arrogant sect. Do they have the ability to kill so many martial gods? If they can kill so many experts, I'll retreat immediately. Saint Lung Yin rebuked angrily. Gu Qingyu pulled out his scabbard and his emperor's aura shot up into the sky. He took a step forward indifferently and said coldly, can you kill more than 100 experts? You can send 10 peak-level divine martial realm cultivators, 20 mid-level divine martial realm cultivators, and 100 beginner-level divine martial realm cultivators to fight the insane sect. We can kill one for you. Emperor weapon. Saint Lung Yin and the others narrowed their eyes. They were from the hidden grand families, but their ancestors had not attained the Tao. They were lucky to have a boundary emperor weapon in their hands. How could they dare to disrespect an emperor weapon? What's going on? Didn't all the emperor weapons self-destruct, except for the battle sky spear? How come the insane sect still has one? Everyone looked at each other. An emperor weapon was not to be trifled with. Yin Yunbei seemed to have known the outcome. He continued to play with the short blade in his hand without a care. Great boundary emperors. Do you think that Gu Qingyu is only a 6th level immortal and can't do anything to you even if he has an emperor weapon? If I have an emperor weapon, do you think I can kill all of you? Yin Yunbei said calmly with a faint smile on his handsome face. The experts from the hidden grand families turned pale. This was a blatant threat. A divine martial realm cultivator threatening a boundary emperor. Was this really a chaotic world? Yin Yunbei, don't you think you're too arrogant to talk to us like this? Don't blame us for summoning all the hidden grand families to come and destroy the insane sect for today's humiliation. When that time comes, we'll kill you as well. Saint Lung Yin said angrily. Is that so? I'll accompany you anytime. When that time comes, don't blame me for bullying you with an emperor weapon. Yin Yunbei said disdainfully. Yin Yunbei was indeed too powerful. A fake emperor could not withstand more than 5 moves from him. Once he had an emperor weapon and used the Tianwu battle sword as a short blade, anyone who got close to him would die without a doubt. The people from the hidden grand families were stunned and did not dare to refute. Humph, the hidden grand families should stay in seclusion. If their disciples die in battle, then so be it. What are you old fogies doing here? Do you think the imperial region is your own backyard? Moreover, this is the ancestral land of the human race. Do you know what punishment you deserve for blaspheming the spirits of our ancestors? A cold snort resounded through the sky. An angry rebuke came from behind the hidden grand families. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. The experts from the Diwu clan had all arrived. Diwu Shenquang led 5 powerful boundary emperors over and blocked the ancient massacre god's crotch in the blink of an eye. The Diwu clan was not an ordinary clan. It had once produced the Diwu Great Emperor, and was a top-notch existence among the hidden grand families. Generally, the hidden grand families still had to give them some face. Yan Yunbei and the others were stunned, especially those from the insane sect. They did not expect the Diwu clan to stand on their side. Saint Lung Yin and the others looked even worse. They could not imagine why the Diwu clan would make such a stand. Mr. Diwu. Yin Chao frowned and looked at the Diwu clan leader, Diwu Shenfeng. He wanted to know why. This old man has always only looked at the word reason. What are you doing today? What a scandal. Moreover, you're doing this in front of the ancestral land. How can our ancestors rest in peace? Diwu Shenfeng said righteously and coldly. In the depths of the void, Gui Chenzi watched everything that was happening with the human clan. His eyes were fierce. This matter could not be hidden. He had regretted it before, and did not want to slaughter the human clan for the sake of survival. However, the human clan had disappointed him. Especially the way the hidden grand families acted this time. He could not see any hope for the human clan. Instead of letting you kill each other and waste your life force, let me devour you and help me attain my Tao. Gui Chenzi flicked his sleeves and left. Half a day later, in the forbidden area, Gui Chenzi greets the lords. Gui Chenzi bowed slightly and said to Great Emperor Su and the others, "Have you found out? How did the primal chaos emperor die? How many experts do the human clan have now?" Great Emperor Hao Yu asked indifferently. Gui Chenzi bowed and said, "Your Excellency, the primal chaos emperor died in the Thunder Dominion's Thunder origin. He was not killed by a human expert. I heard that a little bird lured him in. The human race has been almost completely crippled, and there are no experts left. Now the Tao Realm Holy Land and the Hidden World aristocratic clans are in a standoff. The Sage Monarch clan and the myriad races Imperials are unwilling to get involved, so they are divided. Only a few young disciples are willing to get involved." The primal chaos emperor Su's face sank. He did not expect the human clan to be so weak. Even now they were still killing each other. It was hopeless. Great Emperor Hao Yu, Dead Spirit Emperor, and Void Spirit Emperor smirked. Their eyes flashed with killing intent. However, they were wondering what kind of little bird could have lured the primal chaos emperor into the Thunder Dominion. What kind of bird lured the primal chaos emperor into the Thunder Dominion? Great Emperor Hao Yu frowned and asked. "I heard that it was the spirit pet of Yi Qinghan. It's called the Devouring Spirit Eagle." Gui Chenzi replied truthfully. Great Emperor Hao Yu and Void Spirit Emperor's eyes flashed coldly. They knew the parrot's identity. "So it's that bastard's son. He deserves to die." The two of them scolded in unison. Great Emperor Su raised his eyebrows. How could he not know about that tasteless bird? Of course, the tasteless bird they knew was not the one on Yi Qinghan's shoulder. It was its father. His father was the real tasteless bird. He could do anything. He betrayed his master, killed a great emperor, dug up the ancestral grave, and raped a godly phoenix. In the end he died a heroic death. It was a pity. Su Fu, I know you don't want to destroy the human clan. However, do we still need to protect the human clan? We are still killing each other at this point. Why don't we achieve immortality? Why don't we become the creator? Why don't we become true gods and control the great Tao? Great Emperor Hao Yu said coldly. Great Emperor Su Fu smiled bitterly. The human clan had failed to live up to expectations. What could he do alone? If the human clan still had great emperors, perhaps both sides would suffer great losses. However, without great emperors, they would still kill each other. Just those ordinary dead souls would be enough to destroy the human clan. You are right. There is no need to protect the human clan. Let's do it. Great Emperor Su Fu looked up at the sky helplessly. At this moment, near the human clan's ancestral land, the atmosphere was still tense. Saint Lung Yin and the others were calling for reinforcements, as if they wanted to fight a tough battle. They did not know that the endless universe was in danger. Screech, a divine eagle's roar resounded through the mountains and rivers. It came from the east and shattered the void. Yi Qinghan had returned. He looked down at everyone from the sky, watching the confrontation between the ancient massacre god and the hidden clan. The Diwu clan had actually helped the Dao realm Holy Land and the Guangzong, which surprised him. Yi Qinghan let out a breath. The god-slaying eagle returned to his body and brought Zifei, to the ancient massacre god. Yi Qinghan seemed to represent luck. He was the pillar of many people's souls. The ancient massacre god's aura was rising. What happened? Yi Qinghan frowned and asked. The people of the insane sect were attacking a branch of the insane sect. They beat up the small ones and the big ones came. The big ones were killed and the old ones came. In the end it became like this. Gu Qingyu shrugged and said disdainfully. Kacha. Yi Qinghan clenched his fists and looked coldly at the insane sect. He smiled cruelly and said, "What if you all die? Are you going to call your ancestors to come find me?" Chapter 347. Yi Qinghan's eyes were cold. What he hated the most in his life was these people who relied on their cultivation realm to oppress the weak. These people had even crossed his reverse scale. Did they think of the consequences of bullying the Kuang sect? Valley Master, this person is Yi Qinghan. I heard that he has several extreme Dao Emperor weapons. A fake emperor of the evil Yin Valley transmitted his voice. Saint Lung Yin's breath stagnated as she stared at Yi Qinghan. She didn't believe that a junior could have several extreme Dao Emperor weapons. You want to kill us? I want to see if you have the ability. Saint Lung Yin shouted angrily. Yi Qinghan clenched his iron fist and summoned his divine bow. Suddenly, the parrot jumped out and said wretchedly, "Master, we have so many 8th grade fire essence. Take it out and burn these bastards." When everyone heard this, they trembled. 8th grade fire essence? And so many. If it really existed, once it appeared, it could definitely start a prairie fire and burn them alive. Even their souls wouldn't be able to escape. Swish, swish, swish. The experts of the hidden wealthy families all retreated and looked at Yi Qinghan with vigilance. They didn't dare to be careless. Kakaka, this group of idiots, you dare to challenge my Kuang sect? This divine bird can kill all of you with a wave of my hand. Remember, this divine bird is the big brother of the golden crow. I have plenty of fire essence. It's easy for me to burn thousands of boundary emperors. When I'm strong enough, I'll go to the depths of the eastern wilderness and get some 9th grade fire essence. Even great emperors will have to bow down in front of me. The parrot arrogantly raised its head and mocked disdainfully. Saint Lung Yin and the others were furious, but they didn't dare to get close to Yi Qinghan. An 8th grade fire essence could burn a boundary emperor to death. That kind of thing was different from a 7th grade fire essence. An 8th grade fire essence could burn anything that touched it. Even the soul couldn't escape. A 9th grade fire essence was even more terrifying. It was rumored that only the golden crow and the phoenix could control it. All other creatures in the world would be wiped out, including some divine dragons. Saint Lung Yin, why aren't you retreating with your people? The human race has suffered heavy losses. Instead of thinking for the human race, you did such a shameless thing. How can you face the ancestors of the human race? Are none of your ancestors buried in this ancestral land? Diwu Kuang God pointed at the ancestral land and shouted angrily. Although Diwu Kuangshan's cultivation level was low, his status was extremely high. Even Diwu Shenfeng of the Diwu clan was scolded by him, let alone a valley master of the evil Shadow Valley. But your words. You let your disciples burn, kill, and loot in the stars. I don't believe that you don't know that. What's the difference between you and the dead spirits in the Forbidden Lands? Cold light flashed in the eyes of Saint Lung Yin and the others. They knew that if they didn't leave today, there would definitely be a fight. The 5 quasi-emperors of the Diwu clan were already very strong. If Yi Qinghan had a few more monarch weapons and 8th grade flame essences, it would definitely be disadvantageous for them. Don't regret it. Saint Lung Yin's eyes flashed with killing intent. She retreated with the people of the hidden wealthy families. After the people of the hidden wealthy families retreated, Yi Qinghan looked at the people of the Diwu family. He didn't know what they wanted to do. They actually took the initiative to help the Kuang sect today. Thank you for your help. I will repay your kindness in the future, Yi Qinghan said with cupped fists. I'm not helping you in this matter. As a member of the human race, my brother also contributed to the glory of the human race. He also died on the path of glory for the human race. I don't want his efforts to go down the drain. So you don't have to worry too much. If you are really grateful, I hope you can return my Diwu family's imperial weapon as soon as possible. The heavenly scripture of the Tao Si is useless in your hands. Moreover, you have killed Diwu Tianhe. My Diwu family will not pursue this matter. He deserved it, Diwu Kuang God said in a deep voice. Yi Qinghan smiled indifferently and said in a low voice, I will return it when it's time. In the forbidden area, another terrifying expert woke up. His whole body was made of golden bones without any flesh. He was so powerful that he alarmed the three great emperors, Hao Yue, Su Ling, and Fu Su. The three great emperors looked at this person with a hint of surprise in their eyes. The forbidden area had existed for too long. There were countless terrifying existences in the depths. They didn't even recognize this dead spirit of a great emperor. How many years has it been since the immemorial era? The Skull Great Emperor's voice was hoarse and completely lifeless. A great emperor from the immemorial era? Fu Su and the others murmured to themselves. My friend, there has been a change of dynasties. The immemorial era has spanned the primordial era, the antiquity era, the Xianyuan era, and the Xinwu era. It is now the 8th year of Emperor's fall. The Void Spirit Great Emperor stared at the skull and said in a low voice, The Emperor's fall era? Time waits for no man. Everything has changed after one night. The Skull Great Emperor shook his body. His bones made a terrifying cracking sound. The death chi couldn't get close to him. My friend, the human race is at its weakest now. Are you interested in controlling it completely? The Void Spirit Great Emperor asked in a low voice. On a dead star at the edge of the Thousand Dragons starfield, the Ghost Emperor had absorbed all the energy of the Yellow Springs and was rapidly recovering his soul. His strength had increased greatly, and he was about to break through to the Great Emperor realm. Cold chi swept towards the Thousand Dragons starfield, alarming the Thousand Dragon race. Quick! Inform the Starfield Master and contact the Monarch Realm experts. The Ghost Emperor is about to awaken. In the Remnant sect, two terrifying auras were constantly rising. One was a Great Circle Quasi-Emperor, and the other was only at the Divine Martial Realm. However, the Divine Martial Realm's aura was comparable to a Great Circle Quasi-Emperor. It soared into the clouds and was unstoppable. The Sect Master has awakened. Eldest Senior Brother has also awakened. It's time for our Remnant sect to show ourselves. Boom! A mountain gate opened. A handsome young man in purple stepped out of the mountain range and walked towards the Remnant sect's martial arts field. The vast Remnant sect stretched for thousands of miles. He instantly arrived at the field. Greetings, eldest senior brother. Thousands of ordinary disciples knelt respectfully, not daring to look directly at him. The corners of the young man's mouth curled up. He was both charming and evil, giving people an indescribable sense of comfort. He was approachable, but no one dared to profane him. Everyone rise. Where are Zaikan and Puwu? The young man's pleasant voice spread to every corner. Master Zai can just return from the Imperial region. He seems to be injured. The outer sect disciples said. There were a total of 3 disciples in the Remnant sect. Eldest senior brother Qingyang was ranked second, and the third was Nangong Puwu. Each of them had a terrifying cultivation, especially Qingyang. Although he was called eldest senior brother, it was just a title. In fact, no one knew which era he was from, or how long he had sealed himself. If not for the sect master coincidentally finding him in the sect's forbidden area, he might still be in a deep slumber. Qingyang might not even be from the Remnant sect. It was just that things had changed with the passage of time. When he sealed himself, he left the Remnant sect. Even the sect master couldn't tell which era he was from. When Qingyang woke up, he was already in the celestial realm. Perhaps because he had sealed himself for a long time, he had lost all his memories. The sect master, 6 Calamity Azure Dragon, took him in as a disciple. He had been in seclusion in the sect and had never appeared before. When he came out, he would ask about the outside world before going back into seclusion again. King Yang had a long spear embroidered on his shoulder. He was sitting on a chair outside the martial arts arena. His divine sense rushed towards a mountain peak as he said calmly, "Junior brother Zaykan, come out and tell me what's going on outside." Zaykan stepped out of the mountain peak. There was still some blood on his clothes. It seemed like he had been severely injured. "Eldest senior brother, the outside world is in chaos. The Tao State sacred grounds have been destroyed, and the hidden sects are causing trouble outside. I estimate that in 2 or 3 months, both sides will start fighting." Zaykan said in a low voice. "Only the hidden sects will make a move. Why do I feel like many powers will make a move? The Ghost Emperor might come out of seclusion. It's best if you don't go out. Those people from the forbidden area will definitely take advantage of the situation. The human race is in danger." Kanyang's eyes were like stars as he looked into the void. He seemed to be able to see through everything. "Yang, lead the disciples of the remnant sects to occupy the Hengyang galaxy. That's an important path to the human race behind us. Block it for me. No matter if it's the hidden sects, the human race, the myriad races, or the undead, don't let a single one pass." A low voice rang out and exploded in the middle of the martial arts arena. Kanyang nodded slightly and patted Zaykan's shoulder. Zaykan's injuries healed instantly as if he had never been injured. Then, he gathered all the powerful disciples and charged out of the sect towards the Hengyang galaxy. At the Yin Soul Mountain, where the hidden sects gathered, a powerful dead spirit entered the Yin Yang 8 tribes. The Yang god of the Yin Yang race woke up from his seclusion. "Dead spirit, this is the Yin Yang race. You shouldn't be here. Get out." Yang god scolded coldly. "Kakik, Yang god, I am here on behalf of the emperor." Whoosh, a jade scroll flew towards the depths of the Yin Yang race. "The emperor said that you would tell me the answer after reading the message." The dead spirit was arrogant. There weren't many dead spirits in the forbidden grounds. The weakest of them was a boundary emperor. They were invincible in the human race and didn't fear the Yin Yang 8 tribes at all. The depths of the Yin Yang race was silent for a while, then said, "I will think about it. This is a serious matter. The Yin Yang race doesn't want to be labeled as traitors." "All right, whether the Yin Yang 8 tribes participate or not won't affect the outcome of the forbidden grounds. I hope you don't side with the wrong team." The dead spirit laughed coldly and charged towards the territory of the sect. Tianmu Xinghua wasn't considered old. At least he wasn't a hero past his prime. He looked to be around 40 years old, and was very close to becoming an emperor. Unfortunately, he couldn't gain the recognition of the heavens. "Sai, is the Tao blaming me for being too mediocre and not doing anything for the human race?" Tianmu Xinghua Wangtian asked himself. He was already at this level, but he still couldn't comprehend the tribulation of the emperor and prove his Tao. At that moment, the dead spirit stepped into the sect and said coldly, "Here is the emperor's decree. Path of the martial arts style." Tianmu Xinghua was still sitting cross-legged. He didn't even move his hands. A thought turned into a huge hand and killed a powerful dead spirit. Chapter 348. The pressure of heaven and earth was so strong that even those in the divine martial realm couldn't fly. Heaven's secrets were blocked, and no one could see through it. The Heaven's Secret sect sighed. At this moment, all the secret techniques of the Heaven's Secret sect were ineffective. They couldn't even use the simplest star technique, let alone detect Heaven's secrets. Inform all the great Tao realm holy lands and all the sects above the 7th rank to give up the west with Emperor Abyss City as the boundary. We hope to mobilize all the experts to gather at Emperor Abyss City and Beiyuan City in case of emergency. Xiaqiyue looked at the coordinates of the star domain and drew a diagonal line on the map of the Imperial region, dividing the Imperial region into 2. Yin Yunbei's fingertips trembled. He knew what Xiaqiyue was thinking. An inch of mountains and rivers, an inch of blood, a million lives, a million soldiers. Now they had to give up half of the imperial region. What a heavy decision this was. But now they had no other choice. The hidden sects took the opportunity to create chaos, and the Forbidden Lands would definitely take advantage of it. If the human race didn't concentrate, who could resist such a powerful force? The Great Tao Realm Holy Lands summoned the subordinate forces of the major forces, requesting all the cultivators above the immortal realm to enter the imperial region and become the first line of defense. Although they knew it was useless, they only hoped to stall for time and give birth to a new powerful quasi-emperor as soon as possible. In the Divine Ghost sect, the Sixth Disaster's Azure Dragon opened his eyes slightly. It was as if the six paths of reincarnation had descended, suppressing the heavens. His realm couldn't be seen at all. At this moment, he looked at the sky and seemed to have comprehended something. I've been silent for too long. It's time to come out. Even the fake emperors can't fly under the pressure of heaven. Is this the last chance for the human race? Hua. The Sixth Disaster's Azure Dragon slowly got up. The dust on his body scattered, and his aura kept rising. The remnant sects came out, the Divine Ghost sect came out. The Ghost Emperor was also crazily strengthening, and the Yin-Yang 8 tribes were also restless. If the human race worked together, they might be able to compete with the Forbidden Lands. Unfortunately, they couldn't work together. The 10,000 races no longer had any experts, and the Tao Realm Holy Land didn't have any experts either. No one knew if there were any hidden experts, but they hadn't come out yet. Everyone was anxious and their will to resist weakened. Now that the people of the insane sect had all returned to the sect, Yi Qinghan divided the 8th grade flame essence into 2 portions. One portion was stored away in case of an emergency, while the other portion was divided into several portions. The elders of the insane sect each received a portion, and the portions were divided according to their cultivation and needs. Yi Qinghan knew this, so no one was dissatisfied. Later, Yi Qinghan gave each person 1 or 2 green lotus seeds, and some people got 3. The parrot's bottom line had been robbed by Yi Qinghan, which made it unhappy. This is the last bit of support I can give everyone. From now on, you'll have to rely on yourselves. Yi Qinghan said in a deep voice. Many thanks, Brother Yi. There's no time to lose. I'll go into seclusion first. Zetian was given a flame essence the size of a needle tip. Even so, it was still a lot. With Zetian's cultivation, he wouldn't be able to withstand it. Zetian was very excited. With the support of the 8th grade flame essence and the green lotus seeds, he could refine the fire Qilin's blood essence back to the time of his ancestors. Everyone cupped their fists and left. Yi Qinghan also went into seclusion with a little bit of the 8th grade flame essence. Half a month later, all the humans in the west of the imperial domain had retreated. Even the 10,000 races withdrew from the west and returned to the human race's territory. The 10,000 races had abandoned their territory and had no choice but to do so. They joined forces to resist the enemy. Whether they could survive or not depended on this battle. The Dead Spirit's Forbidden Land was almost ready, and was ready to make a move. The heavenly pressure made it hard for people to breathe. The divine martial powerhouses were also running wildly on the major stars, unable to walk. The speed of the human race's return was greatly hindered. However, the Dead Spirit's Forbidden Land was even more restricted. The Dead Spirit's Quasi-Emperor was also restrained, and his combat strength was reduced by at least 30%. The heavenly Tao was heartless, but it was still on the side of the human race. However, it could only do so much. Any more and it would cause the order to collapse and the universe would return to the Great Quietus era. Boom. Qitian Monkey King was the first to break through and enter the divine martial realm. His golden hair shone brightly as he transformed into a golden body that stood tall in the mortal world. He was extremely powerful and shocked the 10,000 races, giving them a greater desire to live. Roared a dragon's roar resounded through the clouds. Long Qiong of the Azure Dragon race evolved, and revealed his true form. The scales all over his body shone with divine light. Another divine martial powerhouse had appeared, causing the 10,000 races to be excited. A person at this level who entered the divine martial realm could be used as a quasi-emperor. It would be easy for him to sweep through a region. Roar. A furious roar resounded through the heavens and earth. as if a divine beast had descended, shaking the heavenly might away. Countless people looked at Guangzong with excitement. Someone from the Guangzong has entered the divine martial realm. Ha ha ha. Those monsters who entered the divine martial realm can at least fight against pseudo-emperors and kill quasi-emperors. Boom boom boom. The Guangzong's aura became chaotic. At least 10 experts entered the divine martial realm. Among them, 3 or 4 auras suppressed those at the same level to the point that they did not dare to raise their heads, causing the humans to feel dizzy. The crisis of death had descended, forcing people to break through. Some people did not even suppress it, and only wanted to break through. What was the use of proving the Tao? If the entire human race died, what was the use of proving the Tao? Unfortunately, if a person only cared about breaking through, their combat strength would not reach the strongest among those at the same level. It was impossible to prove the Tao. It's a pity that they were born too late. Otherwise, this golden era would definitely be able to display the glory of the barbaric era. The remaining 30 or so quasi-emperors of the human race, and the 10,000 races stood at the front of Emperor Abyss City, ready to die at any time. At this moment, they looked at the Guangzong and discussed. At this moment, someone in the camp also broke through. Yin Yunbei's aura did not soar into the sky. Instead, it was so restrained that even the quasi-emperors could not find his trace. It was as if he had disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already behind the quasi-emperors. No one noticed him. When he reminded them, the 30 or so quasi-emperors turned pale. They were surprised and happy. They were surprised because such an existence was too heaven-defying. It was too easy to assassinate them. They were happy because the human race needed such an expert as a pillar. The Guangzong released another terrifying sword chi, as if piercing into people's hearts. Then the 3 sword chis rose and fell, competing with each other. They kept rising, inspiring people. At the same time, the laws of the great Tao interweaved above the Guangzong. Almost all 6 laws of origin were present. The embryonic form of the great Tao, small success. The origin of the great Tao and laws continued to mature and become stronger. As time passed, almost all of them reached small success. At this moment, Di Longtian was almost forcefully pushing his realm. However, his combat strength did not decrease at all. Instead, it became stronger. A wisp of wool soared into the sky, and the divine arts automatically appeared. His physical body was tempered to a terrifying degree by the origin of fire. The divine dragon mark on his body came alive, and moved continuously to prevent his physical body from collapsing. Immortal level 5, Immortal level 6. I want to inherit Father's last wish. I want to protect Father's efforts. No one can destroy the human race. Di Longtian's eyes pierced through the void, as if he could see through the origin of the world and the great Tao. All origins appeared in his sea of consciousness. The 6 paths of heaven and earth, the origin of metal, wood, water, fire, earth, time, space, nothing could stop him from improving. He obtained one of the best green lotus seeds and 5 pitch-black green lotus seeds. Perhaps it was Yi Qinghan's preference, or perhaps it was because Di Longtian truly deserved these green lotus seeds. With the support of the green lotus seeds, Di Longtian's comprehension of the great Tao laws and origin source deepened. A few of his Tao laws and origin source had already entered the large success stage. His order Tao had also entered the large success stage. Dark clouds rolled in the sky, and visibility was extremely low. The Guangzong's aura was in a mess. Young Zhan of the Zhan family had broken through. Zhang Gu had also entered the divine martial realm. The battle blood in his body was boiling. The sky battling spear automatically recognized him as its master, and supported Zhang Jiyi's strength. Only Yi Qinghan's aura seemed to not exist. His wild and domineering aura was now restrained, and there was no trace of it at all. Boom! The heaven and earth collapsed, and the forbidden land cracked. 4 monarchs appeared, and behind them were at least a few thousand undead spirits. However, most of them were divine martial realm undead spirits, and there were at most 100 half-monarch undead spirits, and dozens of false monarchs. This was the strength of the Forbidden Land. Although not all of them came out, it was enough to kill the human race because the human race had no monarch. The experts sensed the undead spirits, and the 4 monarchs all collapsed. They didn't have any thoughts of resisting. One monarch was still possible, but with so many monarchs, what could they do? Build a city wall with their lives? How is this possible? Does the heavens want to destroy our endless universe? Boom. Along with the undead spirits, the ghost monarch in a corner of the 1,000 waterfall starfield was also unleashed. His aura was monstrous, and the 6 paths of reincarnation were stirred up. He was already in the great monarch realm, but he was forcefully pushed into the great monarch realm. He wasn't recognized by the heavens, and his battle prowess was already infinitely close to the great monarch realm. Everyone in the monarch realm sucked in a breath of cold air, and they looked towards the northwest, which formed a triangle with the Forbidden Land and the human race's Emperor Abyss City. Hua! A ray of golden light flashed, and a terrifying aura spread across the universe. An incomplete will soared into the sky, and a figure appeared in the mortal world, comparable to the ghost monarch. The human race was in despair, and so were the other races. The 2 monarchs that came out were either from hidden clans, or they had a grudge against the human race. The human race had no power to resist at all. What should we do? The quasi-emperors were like headless flies, and they all looked at Yan Yunbei, hoping that he could come up with an idea. Yan Yunbei was silent, and the dagger in his hand was almost pierced into his flesh. Wait. If you run now, where can you run to? Yan Yunbei roared coldly, and his voice was deafening, pressing down on everyone. Then he shouted at the ancient massacre god and the hunter squad. Do you still remember the oath of the ancient massacre god? Fighting on the battlefield, even if I die, I won't regret it. Hundreds of thousands of voices shouted in unison, and their aura soared into the sky. They weren't afraid of death, and it shocked everyone. Even the ancient massacre god didn't retreat, so why should they? At most, they would die. Sigh. A sigh resounded throughout the monarch realm, and it alarmed the dead spirit emperor, the ghost monarch, and the remnant sects Tianmu and Xinglua. It was another monarch that wasn't recognized by heaven and earth, and his combat strength was comparable to the dead spirit emperor, and he could instantly kill a quasi-emperor. All living beings don't know the way back, and this old man is also at a loss. I wonder if fellow Taoists are really willing to see the people in misery and suffering, and are not willing to help, or even help the evildoers. The 6 calamities Azure Dragon looked at the ghost monarch, Tianmu, and Xinglua and asked with a hoarse voice. Chapter 349. The 6th Calamity Azure Dragon didn't look old, and was very dignified. He had never come out before, but now that all living beings were about to be destroyed, he couldn't bear it and came out. Tianmu Xinglua nodded, showing his support. If the Ghost Emperor was willing to put down his grudges, the human race still had hope. If the Ghost Emperor helped the Forbidden Lands, the human race would have no hope. The Ghost Emperor's aura was cold as he looked at the 6th Calamity Azure Dragon and said with a hoarse voice, "So it's a disciple of the Divine Ghost Sect. What? Why didn't you attack when you saw me? Didn't the Divine Ghost Sect take the Ghost Emperor's inheritance as a disgrace? The enemy is right in front of us. Why bother with small details? You and I are of the same origin, so we should work together," 6th Calamity Azure Dragon said. "Nonsense. This emperor has no interest in working with you. If you submit to me, I might consider giving you an official position," the Ghost Emperor said coldly. The 6th Calamity Azure Dragon frowned and asked, "Do you want to work with the Forbidden Lands?" "Kikik, you're all ants. Why should this emperor work together? My will surpasses the heavens, and I can summon the demonic aura of the world for my use. All of you must submit." The Ghost Emperor laughed wildly, declaring war on the world. The Ghost Emperor's declaration made the Void Spirit Emperor and Bright Moon Emperor frown. They thought the human race had no emperor, but they didn't expect so many experts to suddenly appear. Out of the 3 forces, the 4 great emperors of the Forbidden Grounds were the strongest. However, Great Emperor Fusu was indecisive, and the 3 great emperors of the dead spirits were very wary of him. The 6 Calamities Azure Dragon and the Remnant Sect had joined forces to help the 10,000 spirits, while the Ghost Emperor wanted to unify the world. The experts of the hidden sects had no choice but to come out. The Yin Yang 8 were the strongest, and they had more than 50 half-emperors. There was also an emperor-level expert comparable to the 6th Calamity Azure Dragon. The hidden sects followed the Yin-Yang Eight's lead, causing the hidden sect's power to rise rapidly, enough to confront the other 3 factions. At this time, the other 3 factions wanted to rope in the hidden sects, but they were still stationed at the entrance of the eternal battlefield. They didn't say anything, making it hard for people to see through them. Yin Yunbei recognized Emperor Supingsu. His fingers trembled as he took a deep breath and bowed. If the mountains and rivers aren't here, what's the use of my body? Now that the human sovereign's sword has fallen for the sake of the human race, I implore you to reconsider. The ancient massacre god's people were crying. They had never thought that a 9-star ancient massacre god would appear. Great Emperor Fu Su was the pride of the ancient massacre god. Now he was going to betray them. Fellow Taoist Fu Su, you have to think carefully before making a decision. Do you think the human race can still be saved? Even the hidden wealthy clans aren't willing to help. Are you going to give up on becoming an immortal and a creator for these ants that are killing each other? Bright Moon Emperor said in a low voice while keeping a distance from Bright Moon Emperor. The 4 great powers occupied the north, south, east, and west. The 1,000 li of land between them was empty, devoid of life. Even a blade of grass had been exterminated by the killing intent. Great Emperor Fu Su held his sword and walked to the center of the battlefield. He looked at the hidden wealthy families and sighed. If the human race did not help themselves, could a broken Great Emperor save the entire situation? Please return, Great Emperor. Yin Yunbei knelt on one knee and begged. As long as Great Emperor Suppressing Su was willing to help the human race, they could at least be on par with the Forbidden Lands. Please return, Great Emperor. Ancient glory, even if I die, I won't regret it. Shua. The ancient massacre god's people all knelt down and begged for Great Emperor Suppressing Su to change his mind. Humans will only beg others when they are helpless. Why should we care about the myriad spirits of the universe? What's wrong with being a creator yourself? Void Spirit Emperor smirked. He wanted Fu Su to betray him completely. Everyone was waiting for Great Emperor Suppressing Su to make a decision. One Great Emperor was enough to change the situation. Boom. The sect-protecting formation of the Wild Sect was shattered. Dozens of figures broke through the gate and charged out of the sect. Yi Qinghan was the leader. He held a 7-foot berserker that weighed 50,000 kilograms. He had used all of his titanium to forge this berserker. Its aura was overbearing and sharp. Yi Qinghan didn't enter the divine martial realm, but he led dozens of divine martial realm experts. He was a dragon among men. If anyone underestimated Yi Qinghan, they would definitely pay a heavy price. This was because he still had the god-slaying eagle and the multicolored snake. No one knew that Yi Qinghan had the multicolored snake, nor did they know how much the multicolored snake had grown during this seclusion. However, if one was bitten by it, even a quasi-emperor would die a tragic death. Screech. Although heaven and earth were sealed and couldn't fly, the god-slaying eagle could still fly. It was at least 1,000 zhang long, which was more than enough to carry dozens of humans. The god-slaying eagle descended and returned to Yi Qinghan's right arm. Yi Qinghan looked at Great Emperor Suppressing Su and bowed. Junior greets the Great Emperor. Thank you for your words back then. It's you. After not seeing you for a few years, you have grown to this extent. You didn't disappoint me. Great Emperor Suppressing Su spoke. His emotions were calm as he looked at Yi Qinghan. Everyone was shocked and looked at Yi Qinghan. He entered the Forbidden Grounds? He knows Great Emperor Suppressing Su. The human race was excited. Perhaps Yi Qinghan could change Great Emperor Suppressing Su's mind and make him protect the human race again. Great Emperor, you flatter me. I just had more opportunities than others. Yi Qinghan cupped his fists and bowed. Looking at the confrontation, he knew that Great Emperor Suppressing Su was very important. He said in a deep voice, Great Emperor, the human race isn't hopeless. The same goes for all living beings. At the crucial moment of life and death, didn't we all put aside our differences and fight together? Although Great Emperor Pangolin was from all living beings, he would rather die than submit at the last moment. I beg the Great Emperor to return and not disappoint Lord Guardian Sword. Has the guardian sword fallen? Why is its aura gone? Great Emperor suppressing Su was sad. His divine sense covered thousands of miles, but he still couldn't find the guardian sword. Instead, he found a person in the golden pagoda of the god-killing realm. This person was looking at him with his eyes wide open. He couldn't help but be stunned. It was Di Shang. He should have died back then, but Yi Qinghan had given him the yin-yang flower, allowing him to reverse his life force. In the end, he pretended to die and went into seclusion, hoping to enter the great emperor realm at the last moment and give the human race a final ray of hope. He had entered the great emperor realm, but unfortunately, he hadn't received the recognition of the world. In order to receive the recognition of the world, it wasn't as simple as just making contributions. One also needed to comprehend a complete great Tao to the great perfection realm. Di Shang had comprehended the great Tao of destruction and was now at the great perfection realm. He was only a small step away from confirming his Tao, but now he had no choice but to leave seclusion. Greetings, Lord Suppressing Su. Di Shang's step shocked countless people. The Age of Emperor's fall had been restarted because of Di Shang's death. But when the Age of Emperor's fall had arrived, Di Shang hadn't transformed into his Tao. Father! Di Longtian was overjoyed. He leapt towards Di Shang, tears streaming down his face. Countless heroes cried out in excitement. They finally understood why the god-killing token had appeared. It turned out that Di Shang hadn't died all this time. Greetings, Lord! The heroes of the ancient god-killing token trembled with excitement. The human race had finally seen hope. All living beings had finally seen hope. Di Shang smiled and hugged Di Longtian tightly, as if he were afraid he would disappear. The heavenly Tao rumbled, filled with joy. Rise all of you. Di Shang's white hair was gone, and his black hair wrapped around the sky. He supported Di Longtian and walked towards Emperor Abyss City, attracting everyone's attention. Yi Qinghan smiled. In the endless universe, only he knew that Di Shang hadn't died. He hadn't told anyone, including Emperor Yi and Di Longtian. This had nothing to do with trust, but because it was too important. Qinghan, please accept this old man's bow. Thank you for giving me time to protect the people and things I want to protect. Di Shang cupped his fists and bowed deeply. His heart was filled with gratitude. Everyone was shocked. This Yi Qinghan was too heaven-defying. He actually had a debt of gratitude to Di Shang and Fu Su. Yi Qinghan didn't dare to accept such a bow from Di Shang. He hurriedly dodged and said respectfully, Master, what are you saying? If it weren't for you, your disciple wouldn't be here today. Everyone was shocked. Only one person couldn't control himself. His breathing quickened as he stared at Yi Qinghan, his killing intent soaring into the sky. Junior, you stole my opportunity and gave it away. The Ghost Emperor stared at Yi Qinghan, almost going crazy with anger. He wanted to come out of seclusion and find Yi Qinghan to take back the yin-yang flower. That way, he could comprehend a great Tao to perfection and successfully prove his Tao. Now that the yin-yang flower was gone, how could he not be angry? Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly. This Ghost Emperor's resentment toward him was really deep. He came to find him as soon as he came out of seclusion. Treasures belong to those who are fated to obtain them. Why do you have such deep resentment? It's not good for your cultivation and Tao heart. The parrot appeared on Yi Qinghan's shoulder and said seriously. The Ghost Emperor went berserk. Even at this time he still dared to mock him. This was unbearable. He really is that old bastard's son. The Void Spirit Emperor and the others were furious. It seemed that they had all been tricked by the parrot's father. Who is that old bastard cursing? The parrot roared. Of course he's cursing you, you piece of trash. The Void Spirit Emperor and Bright Moon Emperor said in unison, their faces turning purple. Oh, all right, since those two old bastards are cursing me, I can only endure it. The parrot's aura immediately weakened. Poochie. Everyone laughed wildly as they watched the parrot bring the two great emperors into the river. They couldn't help but laugh, and the atmosphere became somewhat comical. The Bright Moon Emperor and the Void Spirit Emperor's expressions immediately changed. They realized that they had been tricked by the parrot and couldn't endure it anymore. Yi Qinghan and the others were all amused. The parrot's brain wasn't something that ordinary people could withstand. Fu Su smiled faintly, still standing in the center. If he didn't express his position, no one would dare to act recklessly. The Skull Emperor seemed to be unwilling to wait any longer. He looked at the Ghost Emperor, wanting to rope him in. He said, since fellow Taoist has enmity with the human race, why don't we join forces and destroy the human experts first before deciding the victor? Alright. But you guys stop those great emperors first. I'll kill Yi Qinghan first. The Ghost Emperor was furious. The throne was at his fingertips, but it was destroyed by Yi Qinghan. He hated him to the bone. Alright. The Dead Spirit Emperor also had some resentment towards Guangzong. Killing him first was exactly what they wanted. TSK. If you have the guts, fight me one-on-one in the great desolate universe. Don't talk about killing my master. If you can even harm a single hair on my head, you win. The parrot clamored. Yi Qinghan obviously didn't believe that the group of dead spirits and the Ghost Emperor would fall for the parrot's trick again. He didn't want to hide his methods anymore. He held the jade bottle in his hand, and the 8th grade flame essence was about to pour out and burn everything within 10,000 miles. Chapter 350. It was an 8th grade flame essence, and a very high grade at that. Everyone in the Imperial domain was a powerhouse, so who wouldn't recognize it? Actually, it's not difficult to kill you all. At most, we'll all die together. Yi Qinghan's aura continued to rise. The God-slaying eagle armor, the multicolored snake armor, and even the insignificant power of the fire crow were all absorbed by Yi Qinghan. Immortal 9 stages, he broke into the divine martial realm in an instant. First stage, second stage, third stage. Yi Qinghan's advancement speed was a bit terrifying, but people at Great Emperor Fuse's level could see that Yi Qinghan was borrowing the power of his spirit pets. He doesn't just have the God-slaying eagle as a spirit pet. There's another one that's at least not inferior to the God-slaying eagle. Everyone instantly understood that Yi Qinghan still had some tricks up his sleeve. Yi Qinghan was getting stronger, and the people of the hidden wealthy families also chose to stand. However, they didn't stand on the side of the human race, but on the other side, the side of the undead. The Endless Universe had 4 Emperor-level powerhouses, and the Forbidden Lands had 4. In addition to the Ghost Emperor, they had 2 more Emperor-level powerhouses than the human race. However, Great Emperor Fusu hadn't chosen a side yet, so there was still hope. Moreover, Yi Qinghan could now sweep through anyone below the Emperor level. Everyone knew that he could fight across realms. Now he had only revealed half of his foundation, and his cultivation had already reached the peak of the divine martial realm. He also had several Emperor-level weapons on him. Not to mention, he had an 8th grade flame essence in his hands. Great Emperor Fusu was also very surprised. How old was Yi Qinghan back then? His cultivation couldn't even withstand a single blow. He didn't expect that in just a few decades, he would grow to this level. If he was given more time, he would definitely be able to prove his Tao in the future. The human race and all spirits were completely excited. Now it all depended on Great Emperor Fusu's decision. As long as Great Emperor Fusu was willing to take action, the human race would have hope. Yi Qinghan could lead the crazy sect to sweep away the boundary emperors and divine martial arts experts of the hidden great clans. Would the human race and all spirits not be able to defeat the dead spirits? The ghost Thearch's face was ashen. He was stunned by Yi Qinghan's luck. Back then, he had been able to kill a rookie with a single strand of his will, but now 10 years later he was afraid of him. I can't let him live. Today I will destroy the Kuang sect. The Ghost Emperor had made up his mind and looked at the 3 undead spirits' great emperors. Lord Fusu, please think of the common people. Creation was just a legend. Who knew if it was true or false? Without that cultivation level, the human race will be destroyed, and the efforts of our ancestors will have been wasted. Di Shang said in a low voice. Great Emperor Fusu nodded and said in a hoarse voice, "This emperor knows. Otherwise, I wouldn't have stayed idle all these years." As expected, Great Emperor Su Fu did not betray him, and gave the human race one last chance of survival. "Even if I die, I won't regret it. Although there were only 30 or so quasi-emperors left in the endless universe, they were still willing to fight. Even if they died today, they would go down in history forever. They would live as heroes and die as heroes. Bang! Yi Qinghan stepped out. His wild energy soared, domineering and sharp. Force them into the great desolate universe. Today we won't rest until we die. Yi Qinghan had too many worries. He couldn't control an 8th grade flame essence, and was afraid that it would hurt his own people. I will deal with that Skull Great Emperor. Great Emperor Fu Su looked at the Skull Great Emperor. He knew that he was the strongest, so he took the initiative. Leave the Ghost Arch to me. The 6 Disasters Azure Dragon looked at this inheritor of the same sect, his eyes flashing with a terrifying light. The remnant sect's Tianmu Xinghua looked at the Yin-Yang powerhouse. He clenched his fists and chose him. Di Shang's aura was majestic. He looked at the undead spirit and the other 2 experts, not knowing how to choose. He obviously couldn't fight 2 emperors by himself. It would be good if he could hold one back. The other great emperor could still sweep through everything. Qinghan, do you have the ability to hold back one? Di Shang looked at Yi Qinghan expectantly. Only he had the chance to hold back a great emperor. Yi Qinghan let out a breath. He could sweep through the false emperor dead spirit, and he also had a chance to kill a quasi-emperor. But holding back a great emperor was a bit difficult. Senior 6 Disasters. I wonder if you can let me deal with the Ghost Arch? Yi Qinghan thought for a moment and asked. He couldn't hold back a great emperor, but he could draw one away. With the Ghost Thearch's resentment towards Yi Qinghan, he would definitely chase after Yi Qinghan as long as he could outrun the Ghost Arch. The 6 Disasters Azure Dragon smirked. He could see through Yi Qinghan's plan. As long as Yi Qinghan could hold back the Ghost Arch, the endless universe would still have hope. If he couldn't, the human race would be destroyed. Okay. The 6 Disasters Azure Dragon nodded. The parrot and Yi Qinghan looked at each other, and directly rushed towards the Yin-Yang universe. The parrot was responsible for angering the Ghost Arch while Yi Qinghan was responsible for running. They charged forward, using the space laws to the extreme. The Ghost Arch roared. He didn't care about the situation of the undead spirit and the endless universe. He was a maverick without an army. The dead spirit Arch was speechless. What kind of alliance was this? He just followed Yi Qinghan and ran away. Boom. The Ghost Thearch's aura surged. He swept up the 6 paths of reincarnation, and directly charged into the Yin-Yang universe. Kill. Great Emperor Wake rushed over without hesitation. He wanted to get rid of one as soon as possible, so that he could help Yi Qinghan. This was a chaotic world. A chaotic battle had begun. Yi Qinghan frantically ran away. He used all his trump cards and the god-slaying eagle's support to increase his speed. The parrot instigated the Ghost Thearch's state of mind. He was so angry that he screamed and shattered the sky with a palm strike. Yi Qinghan felt a chill down his spine. The piercing pain caused him to use his spiritual energy to the highest level. He kept shuttling through the alternate space. The Ghost Emperor was so angry that he lost his mind. He didn't look where he was going and only wanted to get rid of Yi Qinghan as soon as possible. He panicked and didn't notice at all where Yi Qinghan was taking him. Hua! The 6 paths of reincarnation drowned the front. Yi Qinghan was sent flying as if he had suffered a heavy blow. He didn't dare to turn his back to the Ghost Arch. The gap between them was too big. He couldn't escape and could only turn around to face the attack. Heavy berserk heaven punishing style. Yi Qinghan's origin Dao body erupted. The Azure Dragon physique erupted and dragon blood boiled. He slashed across the river with a deafening sound. Boom, 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 boom. In the depths of the wilderness, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The outside world could see it clearly. Die! The Ghost Arch roared. He shattered the void with a palm strike and slammed it toward Zhong Kuang. Boom. Unstoppable. Domineering Zhong Kuang collided with the giant hand. Strength and true essence clashed. Yi Qinghan's veins bulged and his Azure Dragon physique shattered. He could only block the Ghost Arch half a step with his full strength. He was crushed by the giant hand. His body was like a kite with a broken string as he flew into the distance. Puff. Yi Qinghan spat out a mouthful of essence blood. His face was pale. He didn't expect that he and the 3 divine beasts wouldn't be able to withstand a single blow from the Ghost Arch. 9 arrows chasing moon-stacked explosion technique. Hua. Yi Qinghan didn't dare to hesitate. He summoned his divine bow while his body was tumbling in the void. He steadied himself with great difficulty. Ignoring the blood that splattered everywhere, he immediately pulled the divine bow. The divine bow was pulled to 70%. A terrifying divine arrow shattered space and time. Xiao, 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 xiao. 9 consecutive arrows nearly emptied Yi Qinghan's strength. They instantly fused into one and formed a divine arrow that shot towards the Ghost Arch. Ant. No matter how strong your foundation is, you won't be able to escape from my pursuit. The Ghost Arch roared. He grew to 10,000 feet in size, and his fists collapsed the firmament. A desolate aura surged for 10,000 feet. His fist and the divine arrow crazily clashed. After 10 breaths of time, the divine arrow dissipated. The Ghost Arch was gasping for breath. It seemed that it wasn't easy to deal with such an attack. Yi Qinghan took the opportunity to extract the spiritual energy from 2 supreme-grade spirit crystals and dozens of 7th-grade pills. He swallowed them and instantly recovered to his peak state. His clothes fluttered. Yi Qinghan had already prepared for this battle. If he didn't have any foundation, he wouldn't have dared to take the initiative to lure the Ghost Arch away. Ghost descends. The Ghost Arch used the Ghost Arch art. His mental energy stirred up the desolate void. Malicious ghosts howled and shot out from the desolate void. Their fangs shattered the heavens and stole people's souls. Countless ghosts rushed towards Yi Qinghan and attacked his soul. Any existence with a slightly weaker soul would have been scared to death. Yi Qinghan stared at the malicious ghosts. He flew backwards while forming seals with his palms. Emperor descends. A 10,000-foot-long phantom appeared behind Yi Qinghan. His hands quickly formed seals. His seals were faster and more difficult than Shinkei's, but they were more powerful. Boom. The giant hand shattered the desolate void's starry river. The malicious ghosts struggled and were drowned. The unique divinity instantly wiped out the Ghost Arch art's attack. The Ghost Arch was furious. His eyes were filled with disbelief. He roared. So you're the disciple of that old man, the 6th Calamity Azure Dragon. The 6th Calamity Azure Dragon's secret technique was created to counter the Ghost Arch art. It was incomparably powerful and had a strong restraining effect on Ghost Arch arts. Yi Qinghan swallowed another lotus seed and more than 10 pills. He grinned and said, "So what if I am? The Ghost Arch art is useless against me. Instead, it will be restricted by me. Ghost Arch, you have no other choice but to face it head-on." Yi Qinghan tried to bluff the Ghost Arch. His eyes flashed. He could only pray that the Ghost Arch would stop probing him. Otherwise he would be exposed. He only knew the Extreme Emperor Origin Restoration and Emperor Descends. He did not know the last move. Outside the desolate void, in the Arch domain, the 6th Calamity Azure Dragon and the others could clearly hear the conversation between the Ghost Arch and Yi Qinghan. They could not help but be surprised. When did Yi Qinghan become the 6th Calamity Azure Dragon's disciple? Shinkei was even more confused. He was the only direct disciple of the 6th Calamity Azure Dragon. How could Yi Qinghan have Emperor Descends? However, there was no time to think. Everyone was crazily attacking their opponents. If they did not succeed, they would die trying. This was especially true for the emperors. They wanted to finish off their opponents as quickly as possible, so that they could support Yi Qinghan. However, emperors were the strongest in the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Which one of them was not truly invincible within the same realm? It was extremely difficult to kill them. Dishang roared. He directly borrowed Gu Qingyu's heavenly martial combat sword and crazily slashed at the Void Spirit Great Emperor. The heavenly martial combat sword was fully awakened, suppressing the enemy to the point that they could not breathe. This was the hope of humanity's counterattack. As long as Dishang could win, humanity would be able to survive in this world. Dishang's sword Dao was unparalleled. He was an emperor-level powerhouse who controlled a true emperor weapon. His battle strength was like a newborn great emperor. Even if he was slightly weaker, he could still suppress the half-crippled dead spirit great emperor. Boom. The Void Spirit Great Emperor was sent flying. His vitality was gradually dissipating. If he could not kill Dishang, he would only become weaker and weaker. The situation was gradually tilting in humanity's favor. However, humanity's boundary emperors were not as strong as the enemy. They suffered heavy casualties. They could only rely on the younger generation to fight. Yan Yunbei was like a ghost as he sped through the battlefield. Wherever he passed, dead spirits would scatter. Chapter 351. Blood was flowing, snow was drifting, and corpses were piled up like mountains. Everyone would die. For every dead spirit that fell, 10 or even 100 living creatures would die. The people of the crazy sect all pounced on the dead spirits and slaughtered them in a frenzy. They had vigorous essence and blood in their bodies, as well as the origin of fire, which had a strong suppressive effect on the dead spirits. The ancient massacre god surrounded the hidden aristocratic families. They had participated in the last great battle, and hadn't been killed by the dead spirits. But now they were being slaughtered by the hidden aristocratic families. At this moment, the people from the hidden aristocratic families had angered all spirits. The dead spirit quasi-emperor was simply too powerful. She suppressed the human race and no one was able to help the ancient massacre god. Countless corpses fell to the ground. Many people self-destructed without hesitation, hoping to delay their opponents a little bit. Grasp the sky. Xia Ziluo's madness overflowed to the heavens. She sucked out all the spiritual energy within 10,000 miles and grabbed a boundary emperor by the neck. Her fist was almost twisted. She had also obtained an 8th grade flame essence. Her entire body was covered in flames as she used all of her strength to instantly kill a boundary emperor undead. However, she was then blasted back 10,000 meters by another boundary emperor undead's fist and fell into the distance. If it weren't for the Yellow Springs diagram protecting her, she would have definitely perished. Jian Qinshue's icebound technique did not have much effect on the dead souls. On the contrary, it would increase their strength. Therefore, she turned around and pounced on the secluded families. In an instant, thousands of miles were frozen, including the ancient massacre god. At this moment, she could not care so much. The severely injured ancient massacre god would die tragically even if he was not frozen. The difference in the number of quasi-emperors was too great. Even with the crazy sect and the Wan tribe, they couldn't fight against so many quasi-emperors. Only Yan Yunbei could kill the quasi-emperors. The others could only stop and delay them. Moreover, they would be severely injured. We can't go on like this. Otherwise, the great emperor won't be able to determine the winner and loser, and the 10,000 spirits masters will all die. Xia Qiyue reminded Yan Yunbei in a deep voice, hoping that he could control the battle. How should we fight? Give me an opinion. Yan Yunbei was also anxious. The death of the ancient massacre god was too tragic. At this moment, the ancient massacre god was about to die. However, there was nothing he could do. He could only shuttle through the battlefield and kill the fake emperors and obstruct the quasi-emperors. Retreat. Defend and wait for the great emperor's results. Xia Qiyue roared as she fought. Retreat? At this point, how could he retreat? Both sides were already fighting. It was too late to retreat now. There was no way to withdraw. Wanling was helpless. The difference between a quasi-emperor was so great that they had to fight and wait for death. The 6 disasters Azure Dragon fought to the death against the Bright Moon Great Emperor, unleashing all of its divine techniques. Both sides spilled blood in the void. Emperor's blood rained down, burning for 1,000 miles. The Emperor's body was smashed, but he gave up on the Emperor's body and continued to fight. His soul was terrifying, and his great Tao was forcefully distorted as a means of attack. As soon as Haoyue lost his imperial body, Taiwa, who was behind him, immediately reacted. His aura became terrifying, and his imperial aura became denser and denser, shaking the heavens and the earth. Divine light paved the way and illuminated the mountains and rivers. This was the true strength of a peak great emperor. What? The human race had a great emperor. A true peak great emperor. Shit. Retreat. The dead spirits were shocked, including the Skull Great Monarch and the Void Spirit Great Monarch. They frantically crushed their opponents and wanted to escape. The faces of those from the hidden aristocratic families changed drastically. Their Dao hearts were shattered, and they no longer dared to kill. I hate you the most. The Bright Moon Great Emperor felt as if his soul had been locked down. He was extremely frightened. He screamed miserably and wanted to escape. Boom. A terrifying giant hand broke through space-time and directly descended on the battlefield. The speed of the giant hand was extremely fast. No matter how Yue tried to escape, he couldn't escape from Taiwa's pursuit. Taiwa's appearance shocked everyone. Taiwa was a mortal from the insane sect. He was famous because he had been following Yi Qinghan. Other than Yi Qinghan and Emperor Shang, no one knew that he was a great Emperor Dao fruit. Now that he had appeared, all living beings were excited and began to counterattack their opponents. He's a great Emperor Dao fruit. His physical body isn't strong, and he can only kill the dead spirit souls. Quickly kill him. The Bright Moon Great Emperor was terrified. He felt that Taiwa's giant hand was grabbing onto his soul at any time. He couldn't escape. Boom. The dead spirit Great Emperor and the fake Great Emperor pounced toward the insane sect. They wanted to crush Taiwa and seize the Great Emperor Dao fruit. Return of the Emperor Dao fruit. The 6 Calamities Azure Dragon charged toward Taiwa like a madman, crushing the Great Emperor Dao fruit along the way. At this time, all living beings' chance of survival had truly appeared. The 6 Calamities Azure Dragon instantly killed the Great Emperor Dead Spirit, and Taiwa targeted the Bright Moon Great Emperor's soul. Bright Moon Great Emperor could only escape, causing the battle to finally tilt in favor of the human race for the first time. The hidden wealthy families began to retreat. They didn't dare to kill anymore. Emperor Dao Fruit. The 6 Calamities Azure Dragon was extremely fast. Although it wasn't recognized by heaven and earth, it had genuine Emperor-level battle strength. It instantly pounced in front of Taiwa, with him protecting Taiwa, who could do anything to him. Boom. The 6 Calamities Azure Dragon shattered the bodies of more than 10 Great Emperors. The aftershock killed dozens of fake Great Emperor experts, relieving a huge amount of pressure for the human race. The Void Spirit Great Emperor and Skull Great Emperor went crazy. The old monsters of the Yin-Yang School also went crazy. If the human race won, the Yin-Yang School would definitely suffer the revenge of all living beings. No one is allowed to retreat. If they win, none of you will live. The Yin-Yang Rising Dragon roared. However, the people's hearts were scattered. He couldn't control the other hidden wealthy families. Old thing, take care of yourself first. Tianmuxing Luo sneered. The Tao of Remnant Marshal covered the galaxy. With a thrust of his sword, the Yin-Yang Rising Dragon was forced to retreat. Once Taiwa appeared, the human race was destined to win. The 6 Calamities Azure Dragon destroyed the dead spirit's counterattack by himself. The people of the insane sect charged towards the hidden aristocratic families and counterattacked with 10,000 spirits. Gu Qingyu, Yin Yunbei, Shen Ke, and Kenyang swept across the 4 directions, suppressing the hidden aristocratic families until they had no chance to retaliate. In addition, they had lost their fighting spirit, and all the quasi-emperors fled. Die. Taiwa was burning with anger. His big hand soared like a dragon and grabbed the Bright Moon Great Emperor in an instant. Ahis! The Bright Moon Great Emperor's soul was grabbed. He struggled frantically, trying to break free. However, that pair of big hands ignored the Great Emperor's soul attack and completely restrained him. It was almost a one-sided battle. The Bright Moon Great Emperor was suppressed on the ground. The 6 Calamities Azure Dragon took the opportunity to cripple his soul. The Bright Moon Great Emperor was helpless. He roared and his injuries were getting worse. The 6 Calamities Azure Dragon's attacks were also getting crueler. After hundreds of attacks, the Bright Moon Great Emperor's soul fell apart. The Great Tao rumbled and the Great Emperor's soul fell. After breaking the Great Emperor's remnant body, Taiwa can only attack the soul. Di Shang understood. Taiwa's 2 attacks were aimed at the soul. As long as the Great Emperor lost his Great Emperor body, the human race would win. Boom. There was a burst of light in the forbidden grounds. Some dead spirits were in seclusion and were kicked out. The Great Emperor dead spirits were unwilling. After leaving the forbidden grounds, they had to fight. Otherwise, their vitality would be destroyed by the great Tao of order. The ground of the Forbidden Grounds was overturned. Countless corpses were overturned. The divine nature of the sacred medicine was filled with vitality. The dead spirits crazily absorbed it and became stronger. They quickly rushed out of the Forbidden Grounds. A terrifying aura was slowly awakening. It glared at the depths of the Forbidden Grounds and roared. Are you raising the great emperor as a spiritual pet? If you want me to attack, you wake me up. If you want me to sleep, you suck my vitality. This time, I've decided to leave the Forbidden Grounds forever. Even if I die outside, you can forget about taking away my vitality. A super existence from an unknown era awakened from the depths. Taking advantage of the weakened emperor formation, he shattered the barrier around the sacred medicine. He quickly extracted a leaf of the sacred medicine and rushed out of the Forbidden Grounds. Dishang and the Six Disasters Azure Dragon worked together to shatter Su Ling's body. Taiwa once again attacked the Void Spirit Great Emperor. The Void Spirit Great Emperor could no longer care too much. Great Emperors were invincible in the same realm, but that was only limited to their peak. Right now, his battle strength was less than 50%. Now that his Great Emperor body was destroyed, it was the same as being attacked by two experts of the same realm, and a Great Emperor recognized by the world. He had no desire to fight and directly fled. Boom. Another Great Emperor appeared in the Forbidden Grounds. This shocked Dishang. He couldn't chase after Su Ling and let him escape. Retreat. The Skull Great Emperor was furious. He led a large group of dead spirits and false Great Emperors to escape to the back. They met up with the last Great Emperor who came out. They looked at the human experts warily and coldly at Taiwa. Which Great Emperor's Tao fruit is he? How can he be so strong? The Void Spirit Great Emperor's soul trembled. His eyes were filled with shock. Everyone shook their heads. They couldn't recognize him. The 10,000 spirits suffered heavy casualties. Dishang and the others also ordered their experts to retreat. They retreated to Emperor Abyss City and began to build a great formation. They were prepared to resist the Forbidden Grounds for a long time and start a tug of war. They wanted to exhaust these great emperors and dead spirits. What should we do about Yi Qinghan? He's obviously not the Ghost Emperor's match. Should we give up now? Dishang was unwilling. He looked at the other great emperors, hoping to find a foolproof plan. Great Emperor Su Fu and the others were silent. If it wasn't for Yi Qinghan luring the Ghost Emperor away, they would definitely have lost. Taiwa wouldn't have the chance to make a move either. Now that both sides were separated, the other party's strength below the Great Emperor level was stronger than the 10,000 spirits. The Great Emperors were also on par with the 10,000 spirits. If one of their Great Emperors left, the human race would definitely lose. The people of the Kuang sect were also very nervous. They were afraid that something had happened to Yi Qinghan. In this battle, the one who contributed the most was Yi Qinghan. With his cultivation at the 9th stage of the Immortal Gate, he was used as a Great Emperor-level expert. His life and death were still unknown. The 6 Calamities Azure Dragon and the others raised their brows and looked into the depths of wilderness. They realized that there was no movement inside. Could the Ghost Emperor have killed Yi Qinghan? This was obviously impossible. After killing Yi Qinghan, the Ghost Emperor must have returned. Who is Yi Qinghan? Why is he using the Sovereign Heavenly Descent? The 6 Calamities Azure Dragon asked with a frown. Everyone shook their heads. They didn't know what else Yi Qinghan knew. Shin Kei was confused and said in a low voice, "Master, I fought with him once and used the Sovereign Heavenly Descent. Could it be that he simulated it himself? If that's the case, Yi Qinghan's talent is too terrifying. However, it's a pity that we can't help him. He can only rely on his own luck," the 6 Calamities Azure Dragon said with a hoarse voice. "He still has our race's heavenly scripture of the Tao Si. Perhaps he has a chance," Diwu Shenfeng said respectfully. "He's a divine martial inheritor, and the divine martial imperial codex are also in his hands. There's still a chance," the sect master of the Kuang sect, Tianmu Xinglua, said indifferently. Yi Qinghan's life and death had nothing to do with him. It would be best if he and the Ghost Emperor were both injured. Dishang was furious. He couldn't leave this place. He could only rely on Yi Qinghan to deal with the Ghost Emperor. In the depths of wilderness, Yi Qinghan was escaping further and further away. He gradually approached the Lightning Dominion. However, the Ghost Emperor was still faster than him. The distance between the two was closing. The situation was critical, and the parrot was almost going crazy. "Master, hurry up. If he catches up, we'll all be finished." The parrot roared in fear. Chapter 352. The parrot was going crazy, and Yi Qinghan was even crazier. Only the Ghost Emperor sneered as he directly passed by Yi Qinghan, blocking him outside the Lightning Dominion. "You really know how to run. Now try running for this emperor." The Ghost Emperor laughed evilly. Yi Qinghan let out a breath of turbid air, and indifferently looked at the Ghost Emperor. He gripped Berserk with both hands as he faced the Ghost Emperor. "Your Excellency, Ghost Emperor, since the Yin-Yang flower has been eaten by Di Shang, why don't we sit down and talk?" The parrot was dejected as it said flatteringly, completely forgetting the scene of it insulting the Ghost Emperor. "This emperor wants nothing more than to grind your bones to dust. What is there to talk about?" The Ghost Emperor was afraid of the Lightning Dominion, and continuously pushed back Yi Qinghan. "Humans don't have eternal hatred, only eternal benefits. You're a smart person. Killing us now won't do you any good. If you don't kill me, I can find something good for you." The parrot flattered as it continued, "You're now a great emperor. You only lack the recognition of the heavens and earth before you can become an emperor. Leaving me, this extremely intelligent spirit-devouring divine eagle, might be of some use. This emperor really doesn't know what you can do other than cause trouble." The Ghost Emperor grinned cruelly as he continued to press forward. Yi Qinghan continuously retreated. He didn't know anything about the Ghost Emperor, and didn't know how to deal with him. However, the parrot seemed to know quite a bit. The parrot's eyes flickered with a crafty gleam as it said, "This divine bird is a spirit-devouring godly hawk, so I'm naturally sensitive to treasures. I can help you find some holy medicine that is comparable to the Yin-Yang flower. Or perhaps I can help you find the true location of the Bridge of Helplessness. Oh, and I know where the Yellow Springs diagram is. Oh, seems like you really do have some use. This emperor can really spare you, but this Yi Qinghan Kakik, I'm going to torture you to death." The Ghost Emperor's ghost claws shattered the void as it clawed at Yi Qinghan. "Hold on," the parrot said hurriedly. "He and I have a contract. If you kill him, it's the same as killing me. Who's going to take you to the Bridge of Helplessness? Who's going to take you to the sacred medicine?" Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed and he quickly concealed it. He thought to himself, "I wonder if he can fly in the eastern wasteland. If he can't, once I get close to him, I might be able to defeat him." The Ghost Emperor hesitated for a moment, but in the end he didn't attack. He glared at Yi Qinghan and the parrot, then coldly said, "Do you know where I can find a divine medicine that can help me confirm my Tao? Who has the Yellow Springs Hell map? A few months ago, I passed by the eastern wasteland and found a divine lotus. This is a lotus seed. You should be able to see its value." Yi Qinghan bowed slightly and said in a deep voice, "Senior, you're still a human after all. I didn't know what was good for me in the past and ruined your important matter of attaining the Tao. I'm willing to make up for it. As for the Yellow Springs Hell map, it's also in the Eastern Wasteland." The Ghost Emperor's eyes flashed. He was very vigilant and didn't want to be fooled by Yi Qinghan. "I know that Senior suspects my intentions, but I have a condition. If you agree, I'll tell you the exact location of the Divine Lotus and the Hell Map," Yi Qinghan said in a muffled voice. "What condition?" The Ghost Emperor looked at the lotus seed that was radiating divine light, and was tempted. The lotus seed's divinity was so strong, so the divine lotus itself was definitely a divine medicine. It could help him comprehend the Tao and become an emperor. After attaining the Great Emperor realm, help me kill all the broken Great Emperors in the Forbidden Area. Then, I'm willing to kneel and beg for forgiveness," Yi Qinghan said with a bow. He spoke solemnly and sincerely, using conditions to exchange for treasures. The Ghost Emperor sneered. He was skeptical of Yi Qinghan's words. Right now the human race lacked great emperors, true great emperors. It wasn't impossible for Yi Qinghan to use a divine object to exchange for his help. Moreover, although the Eastern Wasteland was a forbidden area, it was only targeted at quasi-emperors. It didn't have any restrictions on emperor-level experts. All right. The Ghost Emperor grinned and shouted impatiently. Take me there now. When I attain the Tao, I might spare your life. When I establish order in the underworld, I might even give you an official position. The parrot and Yi Qinghan looked at each other and took the initiative to rush toward the sovereign domain. In the sovereign domain, 3 parties were in a standoff. The reclusive aristocrats didn't dare to trust the forbidden area. But after killing so many humans, they didn't dare to cooperate with all spirits. Now there was an emperor-level expert who could change the situation. The forbidden area didn't want to offend them. Everyone was waiting for the Ghost Emperor in the primitive universe. However, the more they waited, the more puzzled they became. No matter how strong Yi Qinghan was, he couldn't be stronger than the Ghost Emperor. Moreover, even if they were evenly matched, there should be a great battle in the primitive universe. Why was it so quiet now? Half a day later, 2 figures cut through the clouds from the primitive universe and appeared in the sovereign domain. Everyone was taken aback. Yi Qinghan and the Ghost Emperor didn't look like enemies at all. The 2 of them walked side by side, only a few hundred meters apart. This distance was nothing to an emperor-level expert. The dead spirit of the forbidden area was furious. Why was the Ghost Emperor so unreliable? In the morning, he was shouting at Yi Qinghan to kill him. When he returned, he was like a friend. Such an outcome was simply unacceptable. Emperor Supwake and Emperor Shang were also astonished, especially Emperor Shang. He knew how much the Ghost Emperor hated Yi Qinghan. The Yin-Yang flower had been taken away by him, but the Ghost Emperor was now walking with him calmly and flying toward the center of the sovereign domain. Yi Qinghan had submitted to the Ghost Emperor? Ha ha ha, we're all experts. Why can't we sit down and talk calmly? Fighting and killing all day doesn't suit our status. The parrot stood on Yi Qinghan's shoulder smugly and mocked the dead spirit of the forbidden area. Everyone seemed to understand that this matter definitely had something to do with the divine bird. The Void Spirit Emperor was so angry that his entire body trembled. He reprimanded the Ghost Emperor. Do you know that cooperating with this lowly bird is no different from asking a tiger for its skin? You're so stupid to actually listen to it. The Ghost Emperor coldly snorted and said disdainfully, Do I need you to tell me what to do? Wait until the day I attain my Tao. If you don't submit, I'll kill all of you. The dead spirit of the forbidden area was furious and wanted to attack. However, many experts of the human race were watching from the side. Wouldn't attacking the Ghost Emperor be pushing him to the other side? Therefore, he could only watch helplessly. Yi Qinghan had a smile on his face. Although his body was stained with blood, it didn't affect his imposing manner. At this moment, he secretly shook his head at Gu Qingyu, indicating for him to be at ease. Everyone was dumbfounded. So many people were waiting for the Ghost Emperor, but they didn't expect him to make peace with Yi Qinghan. The 2 passed by the sovereign domain and headed east. Just like that, the Ghost Emperor was taken away by Yi Qinghan. He left Dishang and the others were excited. Once the Ghost Emperor left, the human race could be at ease. Immediately, they set up a formation with great fanfare. The human race had the advantage now and didn't fear the forbidden area at all. Unless another emperor-level expert appeared, the human race would definitely win. The Remnant Sect and Divine Ghost Sect each guarded one side. Emperor Abyss City was guarded by Di Shang and Fu Su. There would definitely be a long confrontation. At this moment, Taiwa was surrounded by the Kuang sect. Now, anyone could get into trouble, but not Taiwa. He was equivalent to a great emperor. Wherever Yi Qinghan passed by with the Ghost Emperor, everyone was in a state of panic. Yi Qinghan had merged with the god-slaying eagle, so his flying speed was very fast. In just half a day, he crossed half of the sovereign domain and approached the eastern wilderness. The eastern wilderness was unusually peaceful. Birds flew in the sky, and desolate beasts roared. Once they entered the eastern wilderness, the spatial laws and order completely changed. Even if Yi Qinghan transformed with the god-slaying eagle, he couldn't fly. Unless the god-slaying eagle left Yi Qinghan's body, Boom. The Ghost Emperor still wanted to change the order, but he was suppressed and fell to the ground. The earth trembled, and the mountains were in chaos. As expected, he can't fly. There is a fundamental difference between a great emperor like the Ghost Emperor and a great emperor recognized by the Great Tao. They are at most comparable to a half-crippled great emperor. Yi Qinghan thought to himself and took the opportunity to let the fire crow go. The fire crow left quietly and quickly rushed toward the flaming mountain. Senior Ghost Emperor, it seems that we can't fly in the eastern wilderness. Let's walk. It's only 2 days' journey from here. Yi Qinghan deliberately delayed. Humph. The Ghost Emperor snorted. He was a great emperor, but he couldn't fly. He felt that his great emperor might was blasphemous. However, he could only snort. The Golden Crow Great Emperor was indeed powerful. He had completely changed the order here. Unless a great emperor who had verified his Tao came personally, he could only walk obediently. Yi Qinghan brought the Ghost Emperor deep into the mountains of the eastern wilderness. From time to time, he would ride the god-slaying eagle and fly in the sky. He seemed to be looking for directions. Although the Ghost Emperor was anxious, there was nothing he could do. He could only follow patiently. Ghost Emperor, that's a huge divine lotus. I'm afraid it's about to verify its Tao. What if you're not its match? The parrot said seriously. What a joke. It's just a divine lotus. Before verifying one's Tao, it's just an ant. I can suppress it with a wave of my hand. The Ghost Emperor scolded disdainfully. Yi Qinghan snorted in his heart. If the divine lotus didn't have the means to protect itself, how could it survive in the eastern wilderness until now? However, Yi Qinghan didn't dare to take the risk. If the Ghost Emperor could really break through the Divine Lotus defense, seize the Divine Lotus Tao fruit, and verify his Tao as a great emperor, that would be a real disaster. I have to think of a way to kill him. I wonder if the little golden crow can get a 9th grade flame essence to burn the Ghost Emperor. Yi Qinghan thought to himself. He didn't have the slightest confidence in dealing with an existence like the Ghost Emperor. Yi Qinghan was looking for the Iron Mine Passage. The path here was rugged and complicated. Even if he had come here once, it was very difficult to find. After searching for a day, he finally found the way. The 2 men and 1 bird quickly approached the iron mine. The Ghost Emperor's divine sense rushed inside, and found that the temperature inside was very high. However, he couldn't find the blazing mountain. Where are you taking me? Don't play tricks with me. How can a green lotus grow in such a high-temperature environment? The Ghost Emperor scolded coldly. Ghost Emperor, are you afraid of the 2 of us? Even if 10 of us worked together, we still wouldn't be your match. Yi Qinghan said with a frown. Then what are you doing? A green lotus can't grow here. The Ghost Emperor became alert and didn't want to follow Yi Qinghan anymore. Ghost Emperor, the most dangerous place is also the safest place. Don't you understand? Everyone thinks that it's impossible. Only the Divine Lotus can grow to this level. Otherwise, it would have been taken away by someone long ago. How could it be our turn? Yi Qinghan said. Chapter 353. The fire crow galloped, wildly flying towards the flame mountain. The closer it got to the flame mountain, the more monstrous the heat became. It was difficult to move, and the scorching heat nearly roasted it. And at this time, the little golden crow was rolling around the flame mountain, rushing deep into the mountain. The temperature inside could burn a quasi-emperor to death, but it was still happily rolling around, constantly swallowing flame essences. The flames deep within the flame mountain formed fire dragons that shot into the sky. The temperature outside could burn a quasi-emperor to death, so no one knew what the temperature inside was like. The 8th grade flame essences seemed to have a life of their own. The deeper they went, the more advanced they became. The faster the little golden crow grew. The temperature deep within melted the iron mountain. Some 9th grade flame essences drifted out, but there were so few that the little golden crow normally wouldn't be able to find them. Suddenly, a small group of 9th grade flame essences drifted in front of the little golden crow. It was extremely fast, disappearing without a trace in the blink of an eye. A 9th grade flame essence. The little golden crow was overjoyed. To it, a small amount of a ninth-grade flame essence was an absolute tonic. But if there was a large amount, it was enough to kill it. It was just like ninth-grade emperor-level blood essence. If there was only a trace of blood essence, Yi Qinghan could use it, and it was also a great lucky chance. But if there was a single drop of blood essence, the energy within would instantly explode his mortal body. Woo-woo, little flame essence, don't run. The little golden crow galloped around, wanting to catch the ninth-grade flame essence. The center of the flame mountain was swept up by them. Endless flames covered the sky, and the sound of heat waves shook the world for 1,000 miles. Only the little golden crow could live in such an environment. Besides it, there was absolutely no other creature. The ninth-grade flame essence seemed to be a real creature with its own thoughts. It didn't want to be caught by the little golden crow, so it frantically fled. But no matter how it tried, it couldn't escape the little golden crow's shackles. The distance between them became smaller and smaller. The flame essence emitted a sharp screech, incomparably ruthless. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The little golden crow swooped down, but couldn't catch the flame essence. It was a bit unhappy, but then it erupted with speed once more and chased after it. Chasing and chasing, the little golden crow was burning with anger. After chasing for an entire hour, it still couldn't catch up. It couldn't help but roar. It sucked in a mouthful of fire elements, and its body constantly grew. It was like a giant sun, and countless flame essences rushed towards it. Hiss hiss hiss, the ninth-grade flame spirit roared in panic and rage. It struggled wildly, but although it could defy the heavens, it couldn't defy the golden crow. It was constantly torn apart by the golden crow, and was sent flying backwards towards the little golden crow. Whoosh! The little golden crow opened its small mouth and directly sucked on the ninth-grade flame essence. Then, it fled to the periphery. The flame essence inside had been stirred up by the little golden crow, and the temperature was frighteningly high. Even the little golden crow couldn't stand it, causing the temperature outside to rise. The fire crow let out a blood-curdling screech as it was sent flying. Its face was filled with shock, and it no longer dared to approach the flame mountain. The little golden crow sensed the aura of the fire crow, and flew out of the mountain of flames. It looked at the fire crow curiously, as if it had not forgotten. It said, "Aren't you the little fire crow by my brother's side? Where's my brother?" Fire crow almost coughed up a mouthful of blood, but he forced himself to endure and said in a low voice, "Your big brother and master are in danger. Supreme God, please help and save them." "How dare you? Who dares to hurt my brother? Which bastard is it? Take me to him," the little golden crow roared. "He is a great emperor who has yet to confirm his Tao. He is only half a step away from obtaining the recognition of the heavens and earth. After crossing the great emperor tribulation, he will be able to successfully confirm his Tao and become a great emperor. Your brother wants you to sneak attack him from the side." The fire crow was incomparably respectful. It was shocked speechless by the aura of the little golden crow. "Enough nonsense. Take me to them," the little golden crow angrily said. The ghost emperor had a thoughtful look. He felt that Yi Qinghan really couldn't cause any big waves. He was blindly confident in himself, so he didn't say anything else. He thought to himself, "If I can't find the divine lotus, I'll torture him to death. Take me there. There are only a few days left. If you can't find the divine lotus, humph." Yi Qinghan shrugged his shoulders and stepped towards the blazing mountain. His speed was getting faster and faster. Half a day later, Yi Qinghan brought the ghost emperor to the place where the iron trees were cut down. The deeper they went, the more cautious the ghost emperor became. He was especially sensitive to the fire and thunder origins. How could ghost arts be compared to the righteous fire or thunder origins? As long as he didn't confirm his Tao, the fire origin would be his weakness. "Stop. Brat, you're playing with me," the ghost emperor eerily shouted. Yi Qinghan sneered. Instead of retreating, he directly pounced on the ghost emperor and slashed at him with his saber. Boom. The ghost emperor was enraged. He smashed a fist at Zhong Kuang. Instantly, the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. His aura overflowed and a sinister baleful aura spread thousands of miles away. Yi Qinghan felt that this saber strike was no different from striking an iron tree. His body flew backward and almost slipped out of Zhong Kuang's hand. Thud, 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 the iron mountain was crushed by Yi Qinghan. His face was deathly pale. He didn't expect an emperor-level expert to be so powerful. Yi Qinghan, you've angered this emperor. Today, I'll let you die without a burial ground. The ghost emperor roared. His jet-black claws tore through the void. Even the iron mountain was crushed by his claw. Humph! You and I will never rest until one of us is dead. Do you think I will bring you to the real divine lotus treasured land? Yi Qinghan snorted coldly. His aura surged as he wanted to fight the ghost emperor to the death. Kikik, this is the blazing mountain. Idiot, it's enough to suppress your ghost emperor aura. It'll be good if you have 30% to 50% of your combat strength. The parrot sneered. The ghost emperor's face was ashen. He had been played by Yi Qinghan and the parrot time and time again. No wonder that group of people warned him. Now that he thought about it, his head must have been scratched by the parrot. That's why he trusted it so much. 30% of my strength is enough to kill you all. The ghost emperor roared. He controlled the surrounding space and sealed off Yi Qinghan's escape route. He relied on his physical strength and punched at Yi Qinghan's body. 9 Heavens Tyrant Dragon Art, 9 Heavenly Dragon Style. Roar. Yi Qinghan hadn't used this move for a long time. The golden body transformed into a dragon and drew out the fire essence from thousands of miles away. The temperature here became unbearably hot and terrifying. Hoo. The golden dragon coiled around the sky and tore at the earth crazily. Even the iron mountain was about to be uprooted. The ghost emperor was disdainful. Not only did he not resist the tearing force, he stomped his foot and frantically attacked the vortex. He wanted to fight Yi Qinghan head-on. Boom. The sinister iron fist instantly shattered the heavens and attacked the dragon's head. He wanted to kill Yi Qinghan on the spot. Roar. The dragon's head swooped down and roared. Its aura surged for thousands of miles. The ghost emperor suddenly felt as if the sky had collapsed. He couldn't move an inch. His iron fist was shattered and his emperor blood burned the sky. Wah! The divine bird stood on the dragon's head and opened the jade bottle. Once the 8th grade fire essence came out, it burned everything. The flames poured down on the ghost emperor. Why aren't you dying yet? Wah. The flames burned the sky, burning Yi Qinghan's golden dragon. Its mournful roar enraged the heavenly dragon even more, and it crazily pressed down on the ghost emperor. Boom. The ghost emperor was knocked into the iron mountain. The corners of his clothes were ignited by the 8th grade flames and instantly engulfed the ghost emperor. The ghost emperor immediately wailed and howled. He rushed into the distance and rolled on the ground, trying to extinguish the flames. The ghostly energy and death energy were burned, and his strength was instantly reduced by more than half. Ah! The mournful roar was deafening. Yi Qinghan returned to his body and bathed in a river of flames. His Origin Dao body and Azure Dragon body erupted at the same time. His vitality was constantly being burned as he crazily attacked the ghost emperor. Heavy berserk heaven punishing style. Hua! Yi Qinghan grasped his saber and dropped down from the sky. The iron mountain collapsed. His divine might was vast and mighty, tyrannical and fierce. The ghost emperor was battered and exhausted. He constantly rolled and slapped around, finally managing to extinguish the 8th grade flames on his body. Before he could gather strength, Yi Qinghan rushed over with flames wrapped around his body. He hurriedly punched out at Berserk. Bang! Berserk and the Iron Fist collided. Their auras surged into the galaxy. Yi Qinghan was sent flying and the Ghost Emperor was also sent flying. They tumbled through the mountains, their heads bleeding. But the Ghost Emperor didn't notice that a cold light had suddenly shot out from Yi Qinghan's body. Whoosh! The multicolored snake opened its fangs and ruthlessly bit down on the Ghost Emperor's abdomen. Its body constantly coiled around his body, its speed reaching the extreme. It was just like how it had dealt with the god-slaying eagle. The Ghost Emperor miserably screamed. He frantically slapped his body, but instead of hitting the multicolored snake, he injured himself. The multicolored snake's fangs were indestructible. They constantly tore apart the Ghost Emperor's body. Poison shot into the Ghost Emperor's body. His combat strength was suppressed to less than 30%. Yi Qinghan might have a 7th grade fire origin, but an 8th grade fire origin was still an 8th grade fire origin. His Dao body was burned until his skin and flesh were lacerated. Even the parrot could feel the arrival of death. It desperately absorbed a portion of the flames, hoping to relieve some of the pressure on Yi Qinghan. But all of this was insignificant. Yi Qinghan had lost the multicolored snake's support. His cultivation realm had dropped significantly. At this moment, he couldn't care less. He only wanted to kill the Ghost Emperor. While the Ghost Emperor was constantly attacking the multicolored snake, he brandished his saber and attacked again. Bang! Bang! After slashing out more than 10 times, the Iron Mountain collapsed and his Dao body was burned. Finally, he simply gave up on defense and allowed the 8th grade flames to burn him. He took out his divine bow and condensed his quintessential essence into a massive fire arrow. Hiss, hiss, hiss. He drew the bow and drew it into a full moon. An arrow broke through heaven and earth, piercing through the Ghost Emperor's body. Bang! The Ghost Emperor's body was sent flying 1,000 meters away by the fire arrow, and crashed into an iron mountain. The Ghost Emperor's body was almost torn apart, but at the last moment, he managed to grab hold of the multicolored snake and ruthlessly flung it onto the iron mountain. Pfff. The multicolored snake spat out a mouthful of essence blood and almost fainted. It immediately escaped from the Ghost Emperor. At this moment, the Ghost Emperor was half dead. The fire elements here were too dense and suppressed 80% of his strength. After being continuously attacked by Yi Qinghan, his injuries worsened. The multicolored snake's venom attacked him until his face turned purple. Cough, cough. The Ghost Emperor coughed out blood and angrily glared at Yi Qinghan. He saw that Yi Qinghan was like a madman who didn't care about the flames on his body, and only wanted to kill him. The Ghost Emperor couldn't help but grin cruelly. Kid, I have disappointed you. This emperor wants to see how miserable you look when you are burned alive by the flames. Yi Qinghan's face was distorted. The 8th grade flames were almost burning his soul spirit. The pain was unbearable. The divine martial imperial code was awakened at the crucial moment. The emperor's might overflowed, and kept suppressing the flames while flipping the pages. Refine your Dao body. The divine martial imperial code reminded Yi Qinghan, but Yi Qinghan didn't want to refine his physical body now. He only wanted to take the opportunity to kill the Ghost Emperor. Screech. The god-slaying eagle took the initiative to break away from Yi Qinghan, and directly pounced on the Ghost Emperor. Hoping to buy some time for Yi Qinghan, the multicolored snake had no choice but to pounce on the Ghost Emperor. Chapter 354. Hua. The parrot also spat out a mouthful of flames and surrounded the Ghost Emperor from 3 sides. However, the difference in strength between them and the Ghost Emperor was too great. Even if he only had 10% of his strength, it was not something they could contend against. Boom. The Ghost Emperor roared and smashed the void with his palm. It swept out for thousands of miles and sent the 3 divine beasts flying. However, the god-slaying eagle and the multicolored snake rushed over again, entangled with the Ghost Emperor like unkillable cockroaches. Especially the multicolored snake. Its speed was too fast. It moved like lightning and continuously attacked. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath and sat cross-legged on the ground. He was doing his best to temper his body. Obviously, he did not want to perish together with the Ghost Emperor. Without the armor of the 3 divine beasts, his realm instantly fell to the 9th layer of the Immortal Gate. Flames tore through his body and rampaged. If not for the 7th grade fire source in his body, even his vitality would have been ignited. The god martial arts canon continuously suppressed the 8th grade flame essence. Yi Qinghan had a chance to catch his breath and condense his Dao body. New flesh appeared on the Azure Dragon body. It looked fresh and tender but was actually incomparably tyrannical. Boom boom boom. The dragon blood boiled, and the wood source frantically revolved. It mobilized vitality and blood cells to increase Yi Qinghan's vitality and repair his injured body. At this moment, the little golden crow arrived. Its entire body was dark gold like a small scorching sun. It was recognized by the Ghost Emperor as soon as it appeared. Little golden crow? The Ghost Emperor was not alarmed but delighted. He wanted to conquer the Golden Crow. As long as the Golden Crow recognized him as its master, the fire source would no longer suppress his sinister ghost energy. He would be flawless and would be invincible in this world. You dare bully my brother? The little Golden Crow roared and glared at the Ghost Emperor. Your brother? Who's your brother? The Ghost Emperor was stunned. Was there another Golden Crow? The parrot did not dare to let the Ghost Emperor know that it had tricked the little Golden Crow. If it told the truth, the little Golden Crow would not help it, and would chase it for 100,000 miles. Little Golden Crow. Brother was beaten so miserably. Hurry up and kill this bastard for me. The parrot was miserable and battered. Its white fur had turned blood red. The little Golden Crow was immediately enraged. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of the Ghost Emperor and spat out a huge flame. This was the 9th grade flame essence that he had just obtained. He hadn't had time to refine it yet. The Ghost Emperor was horrified. He never thought that such a small little Golden Crow would actually possess a 9th grade flame essence. He didn't have time to explain to the little Golden Crow that the spirit-devouring divine hawk wasn't its older brother. A 9th grade flame was terrifying, and it instantly submerged the Ghost Emperor. The Ghost Emperor's cries shook the heavens and earth. The heavens and earth grieved as they wept. Whoosh 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 that the Ghost Emperor rolled and crawled as he roared incessantly. He rushed into the distance, wanting to escape from this place, but the flames on his body would follow him wherever he went. Even the Iron Mountains were set aflame, and the disaster spread for thousands of li. Moreover, it was rapidly expanding. Brother, kill him. Don't let him live. He actually dared to humiliate my Golden Crow divine race. The parrot was furious. It had been beaten miserably today and hated the Ghost Emperor to the bone. He's dead for sure. He's been ignited by a 9th grade flame essence. Wherever he goes he'll burn. Let's see where he can run. The little Golden Crow proudly snorted and curled its lips. It was quite regretful that it had just obtained a 9th grade flame essence. Brother, all thanks to you. Otherwise, I would have died here today. If it weren't for the fact that I thought of my brother living alone in this world with no one to take care of him, I would have given up struggling long ago. The parrot's voice was extremely sincere, causing one to shed silent tears. If it weren't for the fact that the divine beasts understood him, they would have been moved by him. Brother, I came late and almost killed you. The little Golden Crow was filled with regret, causing one to be unable to restrain a smile. The god-slaying eagle didn't want to look at the parrot anymore. This bird was too lowly and didn't know what face was. The multicolored snake was powerless. It hissed and flicked its forked tongue as it fell into a deep sleep. The god-slaying eagle also stood quietly to the side, waiting for Yi Qinghan to wake up. The parrot was even more nervous. No one was more afraid of death than it was. Master, you must endure this. I haven't married and had children yet. I don't want to die prematurely. I'm the only divine bird left. The parrot trembled as it felt Yi Qinghan's life force continuously weakening. It spoke to itself weakly. Yi Qinghan's entire body was like a red-hot soldering iron. It was boiling hot and emitted green smoke. The flames burned his flesh, causing old flesh to die and new flesh to be born. It was incessantly burned and scattered again. Flesh and blood flew everywhere. It was terrifying beyond compare. This cycle repeated over and over again. Yi Qinghan's body was the first to enter the 8th grade of the divine martial realm. His muscles had reached perfection, and with a slight movement, he could crush a powerhouse of the same level to death. However, his soul realm was still stuck at the 9th grade of the immortal realm. Hua! Yi Qinghan stood up and walked directly towards the blazing mountain. The divine bird trembled and shouted, Master, don't court death. I don't want to die yet. 1,000 miles away, a great fire was burning. The little Golden Crow chased after it to extinguish the fire. The Ghost Emperor wailed and howled along the way. His body was burned to a crisp. Dense baleful aura and ghostly chi constantly attacked the flames. However, the power released by a 9th grade flame essence was still of the 9th grade. If one hadn't reached the Tao realm, they wouldn't be able to withstand it. The Ghost Emperor was truly crying. He desperately rolled and crawled. After rushing out of the eastern wasteland, he went straight to the eastern sea. Even if he could survive this battle, he would only have a small portion of his life left. He wouldn't be able to recover without a few hundred years. Boom. The Ghost Emperor crossed 100,000 miles and rushed to the Eastern Sea. He dove into the sea, and even the seawater was burned. The gray sea was boiled dry. The Ghost Emperor rushed deeper and deeper, and the sea became a sea of fire. In the sovereign domain, all the heroes were still waiting. The Ghost Emperor was the only person who could control the situation. As long as he returned, the myriad spirits would lose. If he didn't return, the humans would have the greatest chance of winning. The humans didn't want to start a war. Most of the younger generation were from immortal sects and divine martial sections. They had a lot of room for growth. Moreover, both the myriad races and humans had suffered great losses during this period of time. They wanted to recuperate for a period of time, but the dead spirits couldn't wait. They were outside, and the order of the world was rapidly destroying their vitality. They could wait for at most half a month. If the Ghost Emperor didn't return, they would definitely counterattack. I don't know if Qing Han can delay the Ghost Emperor, and for how long. Di Shang grew anxious. He was worried about letting someone from the Immortal Gate realm stall a martial emperor expert. Even if that martial emperor hadn't proven his Dao yet, he was still a martial emperor. He could kill 10 martial emperors with a single slap. His destiny is profound. He shouldn't die. As for how long he can delay the Ghost Emperor, that will depend on the will of the heavens. Great Emperor Fu Su was indifferent. At this moment, his vitality was also disappearing at a ridiculous rate. He didn't have much time left to protect the human race. No one wanted to create a true great emperor more than him. Emperor Shang was a great emperor. The Six Disasters Azure Dragon was a great emperor. Tianmu and Xinglua were also great emperors. However, without the recognition of the world, they weren't true great emperors. Their battle prowess was fundamentally different from a true peak great emperor. They could only delay a true half-crippled great emperor, but they couldn't kill him. The human race had no chance of recovering. Looking down from the void, the sovereign domain was divided into 3 parts. In order to survive, almost all the hidden great clans moved. Their subordinate clans were all mobilized and stationed in the north of the sovereign domain. The dead spirits occupied the west. Not even a blade of grass grew, and the atmosphere was lifeless. Most of the sovereign domain was still in the hands of the humans. However, the myriad races' territories were occupied by the dead spirits. Countless creatures died tragically, and the trees withered. They began to devour vitality to heal their wounded bodies. Fu Su took a deep breath. His willpower was superb, and his heart was like a boulder. He didn't want to hurt anyone. At this moment, vitality was extremely tempting to him. Yan Yunbei, Long Qiong, Qitian Monkey King, Yang Zhan. Each of you take a group of people to the myriad races' territories to kill the dead spirits. Now there is one less to kill. However, you have to pay attention to your own safety. Retreat after killing them. Don't stay for too long. Fu Su reminded in a low voice. Yes, sir. The 5 great experts received the order and left. In the remnant sect, Tianmu and Xinglua looked at Qinyang and Jikan and said, "The 2 of you act alone. Don't get entangled. Once you succeed, leave. Don't worry, their great emperors won't leave. At most, they'll send great emperors to help." Shinkei you go to. All the great factions sent out their top-tier experts to charge into the myriad races' territories. Emperor Shang looked at the remnant sect and took a deep breath. He said, Xia Ziluo Jianqinxue, Gu Qingyu, Zi Tian, Xikong Qingjun, Nye Tian, Zhan Chuanqiu Muyu Tianchen, each of you protect a small group and charge into the territory. This is the best time to train. Don't get entangled. Kill them cleanly. Don't give them a chance. Yes, sir. Little Tian, you go too. Follow your big brother Qingyu. Be obedient and don't cause trouble. Emperor Shang looked at the half-grown Di Long Tian. He didn't want to hide in the back and pushed him out. Di Long Tian looked excited and charged out with the others. In the eternal cloud sky Holy Land, Yilinchun's face was cold. He pulled out his sharp sword and lightly wiped it a few times. Then he entered the darkness with his sword and entered the territory of the hidden great clans. This time, his goal was to deal with the traitors. This time he wanted to exterminate the Qilin tiger clan. Everyone was moving. This era was the era of true great emperors. Only those who could stand out would be the candidates to prove their Tao. Only those who could survive until the end would be able to prove their Tao. There were so many geniuses. After tomorrow, who knew how many would be left? Yan Yunbei quietly approached the myriad races' territories. The stars moved and the space didn't fluctuate at all. Although he couldn't fly, it didn't affect his battle prowess. Instead, it made him even more powerful. A powerful fake great emperor was desperately absorbing vitality. The vitality in the surroundings dissipated. The 10,000-year-old trees withered instantly. The mountains and rivers flowed in reverse. With the false emperor at the center, there were many other divine martial realm undead spirits. They were in groups of 10, and each group had a false emperor overseeing it. Every 100 small groups had a quasi-emperor undead spirit. They swept through the territories of the 10,000 races, and countless living beings died tragically. The little golden pangolin felt danger and tried to escape. However, it was too young and its realm was limited. At this moment, it was suppressed in a small valley. It could only try to escape by burrowing into the mountain rocks. Sikong Qingjun was leading his team and Jin Yan here. They were staring at a great perfection divine martial realm expert. It was difficult to kill a great perfection divine martial realm expert, with 7 fake great perfection divine martial realm experts. However, it wasn't impossible. 300 miles, 30 miles, the great perfection divine martial realm undead spirit didn't notice them. It was still absorbing vitality. Even the creatures underground couldn't escape from it. The way these undead spirits absorbed vitality was very strange. No one could escape unless their battle prowess surpassed it. The pangolin curled up in the mountain. The death chi was slowly approaching. Chapter 355. Yi Qinghan approached the flaming mountain alone, closing in on the flames step by step. The immortal sect robe on his body instantly turned to dust. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan stepped into the flaming mountain and bathed in the flames. His black hair was entwined with fire dragons, and his true essence was protecting him. His entire body was radiating with golden light. His origin Tao body was fully activated, and he was constantly being tempered. He was even stronger than a divine martial Tao soldier. Specks of light sprinkled on his divine body, and Yi Qinghan devoured all the essence. At this moment, his eyes were like the scorching sun, and flames were burning in his deep eyes. His aura was getting stronger and stronger, and every pattern on the azure dragon body could be seen clearly. Yi Qinghan's 10 fingers reached into the sky, and he kept walking towards the depths. His soul spirit was highly concentrated, and his true essence wrapped around his divine body. He was constantly being tempered, and the blood on the surface of his body was boiling. Yi Qinghan stared angrily at the depths, but he was not alarmed. Finally, he sat cross-legged in the flames, and his true essence was quickly being consumed. His physical body was also becoming stronger. In the end, he simply gave up on using his true essence to protect his body, and allowed the flames to burn him. The metal origin protected his body, and the wood origin repaired his body. The water dragon formed by the profound meaning of the water origin coiled around his organs. The fire origin attracted the fire element, and he only lacked the earth element to form the 5 elements Tao body. Boom, boom, boom. The dragon blood was like 10,000 galloping horses, and the temperature was extremely high. The impurities in his body were wiped out one by one, and just as they were expelled, they were burned into nothingness by the flames. The purity of the dragon blood in his body was also increasing, and he was advancing from the beginner rank, 8 to the middle rank, 8. Once he entered the middle rank, 8, his combat power would increase by several folds. Just the advantage of the azure dragon body alone would not lose to a superclass like Long Qiong. The fire crows did not dare to get too close to the flaming mountain. Only the little golden crow rushed in, and ran around Yi Qinghan happily, raising the surrounding temperature by several folds. Yi Qinghan suddenly felt the pressure increase, but he did not stop it. His skin began to crack, and his wood origin became active again. With such tempering, not only was his physical body rapidly strengthening, But his origin was also becoming purer and stronger. It's over. This divine bird's realm has been left behind by Master. The parrot was dejected. It watched Yi Qinghan become stronger and stronger, and said seriously, "No. As a divine bird, I am not afraid of pain. I want to go in. Unleash my divine phoenix bloodline." Whoosh. The little parrot flapped its wings and rushed in. Screech. The god-slaying eagle followed closely behind. It was set ablaze by the fire, and let out a shrill cry. Its huge wings stirred up flames as it tried to transform into a divine phoenix soaring in the sky. The fire crow did not dare to be as ferocious as the golden crow. It only dared to swallow the drifting flame essence in the periphery. Moreover, it only dared to do so with the little golden crow's permission. The ranks of the divine beast clan were extremely terrifying. It was only because of the parrot that Yi Qinghan, the god-slaying hawk, and the fire crow had the opportunity to cultivate in the periphery of the mountain of flames. Otherwise, the little golden crow would have blown them away without a trace. Unfortunately, the mottled snake was not fated to be here. Snakes were of the Yin attribute, so in this place, its strength was greatly suppressed. Now that it was seriously injured, it could only retreat into the distance alone. It found the valley where the divine lotus resided, and sat by the lakeside to recover from its injuries. A layer of the snake's skin had shrunk. This was not the time for it to evolve. Unfortunately, it had been seriously injured and had no choice but to evolve. At this moment, its flesh was badly mangled. It swam towards the middle of the lake tentatively, afraid of being rejected by the divine lotus. Both the divine lotus and the mottled snake had spirituality. As long as there was no enmity between them, they would only protect each other and rely on each other. The mottled snake swam on the surface of the water. The spiritual energy in the surroundings desperately drilled into its body. A layer of faint white mist rose from the surface of the lake, all caused by the liquefaction of spiritual energy. There were many lotus flowers on the surface of the lake. At this moment, they were all in full bloom, surrounding the huge divine lotus. It was as if thousands of birds were paying homage to the phoenix. The mottled snake came near the divine lotus and tentatively circled around the golden lotus, occupying the lotus leaf. The divine lotus did not reject it and quietly allowed it to recover from its injuries. It was like a loving mother as it swayed its little lotus leaf. Many lotus seeds gushed out from the bottom of the lake to provide it with energy. The mottled snake was very moved. It flicked its tongue and swallowed a few lotus seeds before falling into a deep sleep. However, the energy in its body was rapidly rising. A debt of gratitude created a legend. Today's cause became the result of another day's cause. In the depths of the blazing mountain, Yi Qinghan stood up and formed a seal with his palms. He was rapidly cultivating the prairie spark technique. The vast fire element provided convenience for him. Drops of fire element quickly spread thousands of miles. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The fire element was controlled by Yi Qinghan. It formed into a brilliance that shot into Yi Qinghan's body. The space between his brows shone with golden light. His divine aura was oppressive as if he was the god of fire. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. After an unknown period of time, the god-slaying eagle finally adapted to the temperature here. It breathed in and out flames. Its rank, 8 bloodline was highly refined. In the end, the little golden crow even rewarded it with a drop of fresh blood, making the god-slaying eagle excited. Screech. The god-slaying eagle breathed out a mouthful of red clouds, which transformed into a roaring divine phoenix. It spread its wings and released a dense divine light. It swept up a fire dragon that was tens of thousands of feet long. Its wings had become iron feathers, and its bones were clanging as it soared within the blazing mountain. After a long period of cultivation, the fire crow was finally able to enter the flames. Its speed of improvement was very fast. It breathed in and out fire essence. If it was lucky, it could even evolve into a real golden crow. Yi Qinghan was still cultivating tirelessly. The secret technique that he had seen that woman cultivate on the deserted island also developed at this moment. It formed another secret technique, the crimson drill fist. His fist was like a crimson drill snake coming out of its hole. It was as fast as lightning, making it impossible for people to dodge. Yi Qinghan only stopped cultivating after a whole month. His cultivation level was close to the divine martial realm, but his physical strength had already reached the peak of the early-stage divine martial realm. His spiritual power had also improved by leaps and bounds. A wisp of his will could change the will of the flames, but it could not change the will of the blazing mountain. This was the holy land of the Golden Crow divine bird. It was the will and order that the Golden Crow Thearch had established. If one's cultivation level did not surpass the Golden Crow Thearch's, it was impossible to change the will at all. Yi Qinghan's order Dao had entered the initial stage, but it was not of any use here. Bang! Yi Qinghan mobilized his true essence to break through to the divine martial realm. The vast true essence rampaged all the way, shattering the bottleneck and officially stepping into the early-stage divine martial realm. As soon as Yi Qinghan entered the early-stage divine martial realm, he once again ventured 100 miles into the blazing mountain. He tempered his body and cultivated various secret techniques. In terms of cultivation level, he had finally caught up with the majority of the superclass masters. In terms of combat strength, he had far surpassed them. Little Golden Crow, can you give me some more 8th grade flame essence? I want to bring it back to save someone. Yi Qinghan said in a low voice. No problem. I'll go into the central region and see if I can find some 9th grade flame essence. The little Golden Crow had been very dependent on the parrot these days. It really did treat the parrot as a family member and listened to almost everything it said. As soon as it heard Yi Qinghan's words, it immediately rushed towards the central region. The parrot had a smug look on its face as it laughed and ran to Yi Qinghan's shoulder. It said proudly, "This divine bird has evolved and is getting closer and closer to the 9th grade bloodline." Kikik. Yi Qinghan smiled. Now that he had the 4 great beasts on him, once he fused with them, he would not be in such a sorry state when fighting the Ghost Emperor again. In the sovereign domain, the dead spirits finally could not wait any longer. They did not want to wait for the Ghost Emperor to return, and began to launch probing attacks. However, they were all repelled by the human race. The people of the hidden wealthy families could only stand aside and restrain the experts of the endless universe. Yen Yunbei and the others led a group of juniors to wantonly kill the divine martial dead spirits. Many elites died, but their improvement was also very fast. More than half of the divine martial dead spirits were lost. There were less than 100 of the ancient massacre gods left. After 2 bloody battles, there were less than 100 of them left. Even the most tragic team only had 300 to 400 people left. The Heavenly Dragon Sacred Dynasty was destroyed, and the Imperial Palace was occupied by the dead spirits. There were countless casualties. Xia Ziluo and Xia Qiyue were furious. They rushed over to save people, but they were also implicated and suffered heavy injuries. If the Kuang sect did not save them in time, they might have died. Many of the outer disciples of the Kuang sect had also died. Some of the protectors and elders had also fallen. There were only a dozen left, but they had all broken through the divine martial realm. Even a junior like Lin Wutian had entered the 9th grade immortal gate. Di Longtian's improvement was the greatest. Not everyone could compete with such a monstrous physique. Even Gu Qingyu was ashamed of his inferiority. He attacked with divine powers and imperial secret techniques, many of which Di Shang did not know. They did not come from the killing god's world, but from the inherited secret techniques of the divine dragon. Late at night, a group of dead spirits made up of fake emperors approached the headquarters of the Kuang sect. The sect protection formation here was destroyed, but the bodies of Si Wuxia and Li Jiucheng were still frozen here. Great Emperor Su suddenly woke up and transmitted his voice to Gu Qingyu. Take them back to the Kuang sect. Gu Qingyu was stunned and his expression changed. Although Si Wuxia's origin was damaged, he could still recover. If he was killed, it would be a great loss for the human race. Let's go back to the Kuang sect. Whoosh, Gu Qingyu, Zitian, and the others took the lead and ran wildly. The ground was crushed. In the headquarters of the Kuang sect, memories surged in Si Wuxia's mind. The blood in his body began to flow slowly. The icebound technique could not stop his blood from flowing. There was a lotus seed spinning at high speed in his mind, emitting great Tao precepts and origin. Divine light filled the ice house. It was the same for Li Jiucheng. There was a golden lotus seed in both his and Si Wuxia's minds. It was put in by Yi Qinghan. It was the seed of the divine lotus that had just matured. Because of this lotus seed, they were reborn, especially Si Wuxia. The true power of the golden bloodline was stimulated. All the great Tao origins and precepts were revealed. He mobilized the inheritance of memories. It was as if the real Si Wuxia had descended from the heavens. Li Jiucheng was a late bloomer. The real opportunity erupted at this moment. His wisdom was awakened, his mind was clear, and his vitality returned quickly. Great Tao precepts and precepts of origin appeared in his mind. Secret techniques were ready to be used. The old hand quickly became flesh and blood. His fingertips trembled slightly. Perhaps it was because of the blood relationship. At this moment, little Li's qi and blood were burning. Her heartbeat accelerated. Her small hands involuntarily formed seals. Whoosh! Li Jiucheng suddenly woke up. His vitality erupted. His big hand shook, and the ice on his body broke. He sat up from the ice coffin. Golden light flashed. His realm was rising involuntarily. He broke through from the second immortal realm to the fifth immortal realm. The divine lotus seed became smaller and smaller. It helped him break through to the ninth immortal realm. Boom! Si Wuxia's aura erupted. The ice coffin shattered. His whole body was shining with golden light. His eyes were wide open. Fire dragons swam in his pupils. Flames burst out. His golden hair fluttered behind him. The hot power of the bloodline melted all the ice and snow around him. Chapter 356. Within 1,000 miles of the Kuang sect, snow fluttered in the sky. The dead spirits moved forward silently. Si Wuxia's aura was restrained. His eyes were like cold stars as he looked at Li Jiucheng. At this moment, his majesty was monstrous, like an emperor. Li Jiucheng's heart trembled when he glared at him. Senior brother, there are dead spirits approaching. Before Si Wuxia went out, his divine sense locked onto the dead spirits hundreds of miles away. Yes, there's no one inside the Kuang sect. The formation has been shattered. It seems that we missed the battle. Li Jiucheng nodded. A hint of worry flashed in his eyes. He stepped out of the gate and came to the martial arts field of the Kuang sect. Si Wuxia followed closely behind. His aura was restrained, and his bloodline power was suppressed. His divine sense locked onto a large group of fake emperors. There were more than 30 fake emperors. They couldn't kill a quasi-emperor, but they could sweep through a region. The world has changed. The ability to fly has been restricted. The order of the great Tao has changed. Si Wuxia murmured. His eyes were serious. It was easy to deal with one fake emperor dead spirit, but it was unrealistic to deal with more than 30 of them. After all, he was only at the 9th level of the immortal gate. It's too late for us to leave now. The formation outside has been destroyed, but the inner sect's formation hasn't. Let's enter the inner sect and resist for a while. Maybe there's a chance, Li Jiucheng said in a deep voice. The 9th level of the immortal gate didn't go crazy. Escaping from death made them understand a lot. Sometimes it was useless to fight head-on. A real battle between experts relied on comprehension and experience. The two retreated to the inner sect mountain and opened the sect's formation. Light shone brightly. Gu Qingyu and the others were still fighting in the territory of the 10,000 races. After receiving the message, they rushed to the human race's territory. In the end, because Di Longtian and the others weren't so fast, Gu Qingyu had to temporarily give up protecting them. Wu Tian Longtian, you guys protect each other. Don't attack the dead spirits above fake emperor level for the time being. I'm going to save your senior brother Wuxia. Whoosh! After Gu Qingyu finished speaking, he turned into a rainbow and rushed into the distance on the Tianwu battle sword. Muyu Tianchen and Nangong Qingyue also let little Mengxi and Nangong Xiaobei stay. The two of them went hand in hand. Zitian rushed towards Guangzhong alone, afraid that he would be a step too late. At this moment, Xikong Qingjun and the others were fighting against a warrior at the complete stage of the divine martial arts realm. The 7 of them worked together and forced their opponent to retreat. The mountains around them were razed to the ground. The golden jade thunder god's staff cut through the river, pierced through the sun and moon, and directly pierced into the opponent's heart. Boom! The warrior at the peak of the god martial realm roared in anger. He was unwilling to give up. He grabbed the rod with both hands and the golden jade thunder god rod suddenly exploded. The lightning was sharp and sharp, tearing apart the god body. His golden bones were shattered and his vitality was swallowed. Whoosh! Sikong Qingjun and the rest of the 7 masters worked together to impale the opponent's body into the mountain, nailing him to death. Let's go! Sikong Qingjun pulled out the thunder god rod, and chose to retreat without hesitation. Jin Yan's cultivation was slightly weaker, so he walked the slowest. Suddenly, he discovered a small golden pangolin rushing out from the depths of the mountain. It was dispirited, and he was instantly shocked. Look, what is this? Its bloodline power is so strong that it could avoid being swallowed by a dead spirit at the complete stage of the divine martial realm. Sikong Qingjun and the others turned around and looked at the small pangolin. They frowned slightly and suddenly thought of the great Emperor Pangolin who died a few years ago. Perhaps it was because of this. He immediately said, "Take it, let's go back to the Kuang sect." Jin Yan hugged the small pangolin, who was surrounded by a deathly aura, and rushed back with the others to help the Kuang sect. In the territory of the hidden wealthy families, the Tiger Qilin clan had directly allied with the Yinyang school in order to fight against the Kuang sect. Their boundary emperor had not died, so they did not lose much power, and could be considered a powerful force. The Tiger Qilin hated Yi Qinghan to the core, but now he did not have much confidence to fight against the Kuang sect. Any of the other party's protectors could fight against him, and some elders could tear him apart, such as Gu Qingyu, Zi Tian, Mu Yu and Tian Chun. They could all kill him. His Dao heart had already been shattered, and it was already good enough for him to become a boundary emperor. At this moment, the Tiger Qilin looked at the big picture, and wished that the dead spirits could quickly kill the human race. Unfortunately, the dead spirits did not dare to kill the endless universe on a large scale. After all, the number of emperor-level masters in the endless universe was slightly higher. Damn the ghost emperor, he's a complete idiot. He trusted Yi Qinghan so much and left with him just like that. The Tiger Qilin roared, somewhat unwilling to give up. Yi Qinghan is also bold and presumptuous. He actually managed to delay the ghost emperor for a month. I really don't know how the ghost emperor will torture him when he wakes up. Yinyang Maple suddenly grinned and sneered. What they did not know was that the ghost emperor could not even protect himself now. Not to mention torturing Yi Qinghan, he was clearly being tortured by Yi Qinghan. At this moment, the ghost emperor had ignited the entire East Sea. Countless ferocious beasts at the bottom of the sea rolled over, and were directly killed. The ghost emperor's soul rapidly descended, and countless resentful spirits at the bottom of the sea replenished part of his strength. They frantically rushed to the bottom of the sea. The cold of the bottom of the sea gradually suppressed the flames on the ghost emperor's body. Puffed! The ghost emperor spurted out blood, and his face was full of regret and tears. Yi Qinghan, the next time we meet, I will make you regret being born into this world. Ah! In the territory of the hidden aristocrats, Yi Linchen sneaked into the Qilin Tiger clan's camp. A large number of experts and clansmen were lifeless, and their morale had dropped significantly. 3 false emperors and a quasi-emperor were currently in a discussion. What should our clan do? It's impossible to return to the myriad races now. The Azure Dragon clan will never agree. The myriad races are very cruel to traitors. The false emperor Qilin Liang was indifferent. At this moment, he was somewhat regretful that he had chosen to ally with the hidden aristocrats. Who would have known that Di Shang was not dead, and that the 6 disasters Azure Dragon had chosen to help the endless universe? The other false emperor Qilin Tiger clan was furious. His fear of the future was no less than anyone else's. Don't worry, the people of the Yinyang 8 tribes are not panicking. As long as we follow the Yinyang family, even if the human race wants to take revenge, they will have to consider the retaliation of the Yinyang family's emperor-level experts. The Qilin Tiger clan's patriarch, Qilin Tianyu, sneered. Yi Linchen was in the Qilin Tiger clan's territory, but he stood in another space without alerting anyone. He had already unsheathed his sword, and would not turn back until he saw blood. Target, Qilin Tianyu, the 3 false emperors, and the Emperor Qilin Tiger. Kill them and retreat. Yi Linchen was warning himself not to be greedy. Otherwise he would have to die here today. He was in existence who could exchange thousands of blows with the 5th great emperor when he was young. Now that he had entered the divine martial realm, his combat strength had increased several times. Killing false emperors would definitely be a one-hit kill. Yi Linchen's plan was very clear. After killing the core of the Qilin Tiger clan, the Qilin Tiger clan would be crippled. Without any experts, the Yinyang 8 tribes would quickly give up on them. They might even forcefully take them in and demote them to slaves. Since ancient times, traitors had never had a good ending. After the 4 experts finished their discussion, they began to perform their duties and move to the places they were guarding. With Qilin Tianyu as the center, there was a false emperor in 8,000 li. They guarded each other, forming a huge half-moon shape. Qilin Tianyu was the bowstring, wanting to shoot into the human race's territory. The corners of Yi Linchen's mouth curled up. He moved to the left and stared at Qilin Liang. Qilin Liang no longer had any hope in the current era. He was only a few hundred years away from the end of his lifespan. He simply began to enjoy himself, enjoying the beauties of the various races. He did not sense the approaching danger at all. Yi Linchen appeared in the courtyard where he was. He did not even disturb the spiritual qi. Like a ghost, his spatial laws had reached greater success. He was more terrifying than most boundary emperors. He disappeared again and reappeared in Qilin Liang's room. The room was in a mess. Torn clothes were everywhere. The sound of panting rose and fell. The cries of the fierce woman, and the sound of being whipped were horrifying. Whoosh, who is it? Puchi. The sword was already at his throat. Qilin Liang's eyes were filled with shock. He turned to look at the person behind him. A handsome young man was standing there elegantly. The hand holding the sword shook. His true yuan destroyed Qilin Liang's vitality. His emperor body was wrapped in death qi and fell on the woman. The order of Qilin Liang's vitality was changed. There was no chance for him to recover. He did not even have time to warn his people. The woman was terrified. She looked at Yi Linchen and begged, "Senior, please save me." Yi Linchen shook his head slightly and said with a hoarse voice, "I'm sorry. In this chaotic world, mercy is cruelty to the endless universe. If I leave, you will only die more miserably. Let me send you on your way." Puchi, before the woman could say another word. Yi Linchen's sword pierced through Qilin Liang's throat and into the woman's throat. He was killed instantly. Sometimes, killing was really a last resort. This woman was too beautiful and flirtatious. Unfortunately, she was born in the wrong era and was destined to be a sacrifice. Traitor, die. Yi Linchen left a line of words on the ground and left. He killed a fake emperor with a single sword strike without alerting anyone. Qilin Yaofeng was the second on the left. He was also a fake emperor. He was more cautious in order to prevent the human race or the myriad races from coming to kill traitors. He patrolled back and forth and surrounded the camp. Yi Linchen sneered. This kind of defense was like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. The night was as dark as ink. A man in black turned into a specter and snuck into the camp. His sharp sword was like charcoal, without any light. Qilin Yaofeng was cultivating in seclusion. The array around him was alternating. As long as someone came close and triggered the array, he would be awakened. Yi Linchen looked at the array and smiled. His consciousness turned into a wisp of spiritual energy and merged with the array. He passed through the array and entered the room. Qilin Yaofeng was sitting cross-legged on the bed. Suddenly his hair stood on end. He opened his eyes and saw a sharp sword turning into lightning. The sword passed through his eyes in an instant. He was so shocked that he could not make a sound. Hiss! The sword pierced through his head. His soul was instantly killed. The order of his physical body was changed. He turned into a pile of flesh and blood without any vitality. The bloody words were engraved on the wall. It was still the same 4 words. Traitor, what a shameful name. The endless universe would remember it for all eternity. Traitors were even more hateful than dead souls. Countless heroes died tragically in the forbidden grounds to protect them. Countless ancestors died in battle for them. However, they betrayed them and killed the endless universe. Unforgivable. Qilin Luojun, the great elder of the Qilin tiger tribe, was stationed at the peak of the half-moon mountain. This person's cultivation was strong, second only to a quasi-emperor. He was the second strongest expert of the Qilin tiger tribe. At this moment, he did not expect that the two experts on his left were already dead, and that the assassin was approaching him. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.